interesting if you ask me. But this is Zed in the Morning right here on Zed 101.9 FM. And it's just getting to 6:25. What happens then? It is newspaper review. And I have here with me Mr. Elvis Daku to join me to review the major headlines to take us through. Mr. Daku, you're welcome. Good morning.
Good morning. We thank God after the holiday. We are back.
Oh, no, I beg. Don't talk about holiday. We didn't have a holiday. We were here yesterday, so. Myself and my DJ Pete Wade, we came to work.
Oh, but I was also here to work. That's why the paper is out today. But at least we have to let those who enjoy the holiday, at least we should wish them well for enjoying their holiday. We should wish them well for enjoying their holiday. Yeah. So this morning, the papers are here, and we're starting with the new finder.
Okay.
EcoBank announces telling financial results at 2023 AGM. Link tax payment system to SNIT NHIS benefits. That is GRA Workers Union.
Okay.
World market price of cocoa drops by 27% in just 2 days. This is a very sad news for me. The way I want the cocoa price to be going up, now it's dropping. New labor law to be enacted by end of this year, President Akufo-Addo.
Okay, the front page of the New Crusading Guide said, remove your mask or we testify or we free Nyantechi, court orders and us. We will bring back Eduomi to MPP. Stephen Intim assures suspected killer of military officer, not national security staff. Court jails man 7 years for cocoa smuggling. Dumso will not return, Akufo-Addo assures. And the last one is MPP retains a Jisu seat. That's the front page of the New Crusading Guide.
I have the Ghanaian Times. At May Day celebration in Accra, let's protect our democracy. President Akufo-Addo tells organized labor. NPP retains a Jisu parliamentary seat. Soldiers shot dead at Kaswa Millennium City over land dispute. GAF condemns act. And NHIS releases 170.7 million Ghana cedis to service providers nationwide.
The front page of the Business and Financial Times. Baumia launches bid for presidency. Advocates for 100% local ownership in mining enterprises. SML GRA contract. Lawyer counters KPMG findings on parliamentary ratification. Real estate sector gets major overhaul. That's a page 3 story. BOG urges banking sector to embrace innovation. That's a page 2 story. And then EcoBank cements top spot with 22% revenue CAGR over 5 years as balance sheet surpasses 33 billion Ghana cedis in 2023. The last story on the front page of the BNFT's LMI Holdings Mega Warehouse awarded IFC Edge Green Building certification.
I have the Daily Post. It says coming up, CEO of Ghana Gas Company under pressure to sign dubious Ghana Gas Phase 2 contract. National security now running away from Ben Lord Abebiu after he shoots dead a soldier. And the big story says, Ejisu by election, NPP buys votes with we. This is what the Daily Post is.
The front page of the Daily Dispatch. Issues which led to erratic power supply have been resolved, so says the president. Ghana's Energy Minister Dr. Opoku Prempeh meets Saudi counterpart. The MPP government has created 2.1 million jobs in 7 years, says Baumia.
The Daily Guide. Kaswa soldier killer grabbed. Cecilia Dapa's case. AG rejects special prosecutor's money laundering allegation. Boatin retains Ejisu NPP seat. U.S. Army major convicted for gun smuggling. And the big one says, Dumso is over. Nana.
Okay, the Daily Statesman has these stories at this front page. Erratic power supply fixed, Akufo-Addo declares. MPP urged to heed lessons from the Ejisu by-election. Eugene commits to Ewutu Senya West development. TVET to distribute 1.2 million textbooks to students. And the last one here is Ghana prepares to host third African Media Convention. That's the front page of the Daily Statesman.
The Chronicle, that's my last paper. Doomsor is now over. Reliable power supply restored. That's President Akufo-Addo. Soldier gunned down over land matters. Poku Transport son accuses Lands Commission of altering documents. And Kwadaso MP, my envelope wasn't a bribe. The Chronicle.
And at the front page of the Daybreak, Doomsor will not return. Akufo-Addo at May Day celebration. Chiefs people of Upper West welcome cylinder recirculation. And Kaswa Ghana forces please probe Millennium City murder. Move to higher grounds as rains intensify. So says the Meteo Agency. And then coming up, rot at Accra Regional Lands Commission. That's the front page of the Daybreak. Okay, so Mr. Dakon, first of all, before I'm wondering about this very story from the GMET, the Ghana Meteorological Agency, that has warned residents residing in flood-prone regions to relocate to higher areas as the rainfall intensifies. And this is coming from the Deputy Director, Joseph Tete Potife, who was emphasizing the importance of heightened vigilance during this period. I'm wondering, where are you relocating? If for you, if you are in a low-lying area and the rains, are you waiting for the rains to come? Are they asking us to relocate now, because we're in the rainy season?
Yes.
So it's a bit worrying that you're asking those in low-lying areas. Why don't we do a massive relocation if it's important, or if we are aware that the rains are coming?
It's who is going to do the relocation? The point is, the person has gone to build at a place not supposed to build. You know that that's a waterway, and we know every year this is what happens. When the rains come and then flooding happens, then we are all pathetic. Oh, people have been affected by flooding. The moment the flooding is over, it's back to normal until another rainy season. And I think this warning, those who know that they are in flood-prone areas should listen
and start moving.
Because if you watch television, you will see what has happened in Kenya.
Yeah.
Over 200 people are already dead, and the situation is still not over. It's all because of rainfall.
And I'm told this was happening in the night whilst you were sleeping.
Yes, so by the time they got up, there were land and mudslides and all kinds of things have happened. And as of this morning, it is still a major problem. I was listening to the BBC this morning and they were interviewing people from Kenya, and the situation is not under control as we speak today. And it's just a normal rainfall. And we saw what happened in Dubai recently. A whole year's rain fell within 24 hours in Dubai. And Dubai, that we all say, is like the heaven on earth, you know. All of a sudden, everywhere is flooded, including the airport. And so I think that when we talk about climate change, events are happening this year to tell us that the rains are getting heavier in many places. So if the meteo is warning that the rains will be heavier in Ghana and you live in a flood-prone area, it's in your own interest to move. I've always said it. If you don't move and you die, public officials will come and say, oh, we sympathize with the family, but you are dead. That is the bottom line. So it is your own interest to move. If you lose all your property, they will sympathize with you and tell NADMO to come and give you some blanket and mattress, and that is it. So if you know you live in a flood-prone area, please, you go and get a very safe place for the next 3 months. You just rent a place for the next 3 months. And then when the rains come, let the rain do all the damage. After that, when you go back and your building is still intact, you can decide that the rains are over and are moving in for the next 9 months till we get to another rainy season. But I realize that many Ghanaians live in flood-prone areas, but they are not ready to relocate permanently from that place because probably it's paid for the land, spent all life investment to put up a building there. And I realized that, I didn't do proper due diligence before I bought this land. And now I have also invested, so I don't want to move. I can't lose all this investment. So people are just there. And those of us who also rent, sometimes we go and we are looking for affordable rent. Affordable. And since the owners know that place floods, they will give it to you at a rate you think, but at the end of the day, when the rains come, probably the landlord or landlady doesn't even stay there.
No,
he or she is even staying in a different place.
Definitely.
And you are the one who thought that you had a very affordable rent. Now you are the one that will be in trouble. So I think that this warning is important because you see, if you live around places like Dansuma and Apple, if you observe how the rain, yesterday's rain, it was quite heavy. It was quite heavy. I realized that in some parts of Academy explained the heavy as, but where I live, which is Dansuma, I realized that the rain was very heavy. And all I was saying that if this rain should fall 2-3 days continuous, not that continuous days, so maybe first day one you have about 2 hours, the 3 days time Accra will be flooded.
Yeah, because what he's saying is that the first rains would always soak the ground. Any other that comes after now it's a flash flood. So
I think that this is a very important one because we don't even have the money. We are a broke nation. So if you think NADMO will come and help you, if you are not lucky, NADMO may not even be able to help you. So please, if you know where you are, when it rains, the place gets flooded, please do well to save yourself. Because the public official will come and sympathize with you and your family at the time that you are either dead or you have lost everything or you've lost some relations. The sympathy will come and share with you. It's not going to bring the people back. It's not going to bring your properties back. So why don't we make these decisions to move? And as I said, if you have really watched what has happened in Dubai and you're also following what is happening in Kenya now, you will be advised that you want to take this caution from the metro agency very seriously.
Moving on, Dumso is over.
Well, that's what the president says. Yesterday,
let's put it to test.
Yes.
Yesterday, did you have Dumso?
Yeah, yesterday. Me, I didn't have Dumso.
It's over now.
Are you sure? You are very sure.
We are testing the president's statement. I didn't have Dumso too.
Oh, okay.
So
yesterday, I had a conversation with somebody yesterday and said, "Oh, but he slept in Dumso." The president said,
his own is localized, like his area.
I was trying to tell him that maybe his transformer has a problem.
It is his transformer.
So, and I think that
the president said it is over and it is not going to return.
Where I live, I think that yes, 3 days and yesterday or there was power. For Ghanaians, all they want is the power to be stable. Let the power be on. And you see, even though the power is so expensive, Ghanaians are still trying to pay for it.
Yeah.
So if they can't get it, definitely have every reason to complain. And especially when people are using prepaid meter and they are actually pre-financing the activities of the power producers, generators, and distributors. And then I come and buy power, give you money and say I'm going to use it. Now the credits on my meter, I can't use it because there's no power. And I think that is unacceptable. So the president pledge, I only hope and pray that it will not be a pledge that in reality people will not feel it, because sometimes
it is not
leaders are told that this situation is over, and because they appointed those people, they are tempted to believe and they go and make public announcements, and then the people on the ground tells you that this announcement is not realistic because what the leader has said is not what I am experiencing. So you see, it is one thing for political leaders to make a statement. It's another thing when the people themselves are sharing the experiences they are going through. So I hope that the president's statement that Dumso issues are over and that it won't return again, I hope and pray that it works. Because see, this has affected, when there's Dumso, a lot of people are affected. Okay, I watched a video of a hairdresser who was very bitter that for this she just can't work because during the daytime that she comes to work, the power is off. Meanwhile, she needs to be able to do that and get maybe some 50 cedis to go and buy food for the family for the day. And then she dresses, take vehicle, comes to the office, and the shop can't operate because there's no power. The barber, the one who is selling
those are the people who really suffer.
Of course.
Yeah.
That person want to freeze sachet water to come and stand by the roadside and sell because there's no job and is prepared to sell sachet water. And then now they're free to freeze the water to come and sell to, there's no electricity. These people's livelihoods are seriously at stake whilst we look at the impact even on the bigger industries. I'm talking about these smaller ones because most of the times we talk about Dumso and our focus is on companies, big industries and the rest. But when we live in an economy when about 80 to 90% of your businesses are micro and small scale industries. You should know that such a development will have more impact on them than even the bigger one, because when you talk about the economy, these micro and small scale business are almost 80-90% of what the economy is about. And therefore, if such a development is having negative impacts on them, then you can see yesterday a friend was texting me and said, look, the daughter has an exams today, an international exams today, and the daughter wants to learn in the night, and there was doom so. And the daughter was crying that she's going to fail the paper because there's no electricity for her to learn.
That's sad.
Okay? And since morning, they had power out. At the time the president was saying that Doomsor was over at the Independence Square, this person was in Doomsor. And he said since morning till evening, her fridge will not work, but there's no power. And she realizes that even food items that she's keeping in the fridge were about to go bad. And I'll just encourage her that let's hope that the power comes as quickly as possible. So you see, that little girl who wants to go and write an exams and needs the power to be able to study, if the power did not come and she goes to the exams and fails, she will definitely blame the authorities for her predicament, because she was prepared to learn, but the light to learn is not there because there's doomsor. And this, I'm telling you, just yesterday evening, and the person was telling me that the daughter has started crying because she can't get power to learn in the night.
The president said it is over. Let's
that's what at the time she is saying that it's over, somebody is in doomsor. And the persons up to the evening time, the daughter who is writing exams today, who's the daughter which believes that I need the power to learn in the evening, can't get the power to learn. So I think that we should look at how this thing impacts daily activities and feel it and invest so much money there to make sure that we don't go back to this doomsor anytime soon. Okay. Then another story I'm interested in this morning is a very good suggestion, and I think this story we should have to take it very seriously. GRA Workers Union are saying that one way of encouraging Ghanaians to pay taxes is to create a tax regime that links tax payment to benefiting from NHIS and SNIT. They said in other jurisdictions, when you pay tax, because you pay tax, part of the taxes you pay can be used as your SNIT contribution, your pensions contribution. So then you are encouraged to pay because you know that paying the taxes guarantee you a certain contribution into your pension contributions. And if we say NHIS is free to everybody, why is that those who are working will not link their tax payments to the services of NHIS? So that if you can produce a tax clearance certificate and say last year I paid my taxes, I filed to GRA and GRA has confirmed and given me a certificate that I paid my taxes for last year, and for that reason I will now get free healthcare under NHIS because I have shown to be a committed taxpayer. I think that GRA, they collect the taxes on our behalf. They actually work with a lot of the tax policies. And if this is the policy they are proposing, I think that we need to put together some experts to look at this proposal. To me, if those who are doing the work are making proposals as to how the thing can be done better, listen to them. We should really listen to them. Because I think that, indeed, if I'm sitting here and my taxes are at a certain percentage, and I know that once that tax is deducted, there will be no more deduction of SNIT from my salary. I think that is something I want to consider. I think that if I get my tax clearance certificate for the year and GRA confirms, then when I go to hospital and at NHIS, I'll be given priority to say this is a taxpayer that is contributing money, part of which is being used to fund the health insurance, for which reason this person deserves a free health care. I think that such brilliant ideas and suggestions should be considered, because I believe strongly that the micro and small scale businesses down there, we said the informal sector are not contributing to SNIT, right? And SNIT is now spending so much money to do advocacy in an attempt to woo the informal sector onto pensions. Assuming that we say, okay, all the money SNIT is spending to do that, Why don't we just go to the informal sector people and say, whether you have a tabletop or whatever, if you are supposed to pay this toll every month or annually, it's considered as your tax. And if you are able to pay this one, this percentage of that amount goes into your SNIT contributions. Automatically, if we do this well and we are able to register all these small businesses, it means all these people that are in the informal sector who actually have something to do will automatically be enrolled onto SNIT. Will automatically enroll onto a pension scheme. So I think that the way pensions are running in this country, if really we want more people to be contributed to pension funds, I think a pension scheme, this is one of the best proposals I think I've heard so far. And I think that every policymaker in the area of tax administration, the Ministry of Finance, which is the supervising ministry over GRA, I think they should make this a serious topic of discussion. And I think we should even have a national conversation on this issue. And then if all of us agree that towing this line is going to help to increase the tax Ghanaians pay, because they see the benefit in paying, that when I pay, part of the money goes directly into my SNIT, my pension contribution to SNIT, and then part of it also guarantee me that opportunity to be able to access health care. I think that this is a very, very good suggestion that has been made on Workers' Day, May Day. And I think that all of us as Ghanaians, media, policymakers, everybody, politicians, we must make this an important topic. Maybe in a year from now, we should have a concrete proposal that we are about to implement, because we all believe that we want to grow a better nation. How do you grow a better nation when a lot of people are not on a pension scheme in the country?
It is a very laudable recommendation. Charlie, the holiday did something to us. On Tuesday, the whole shouting here and there was Ijisu.
Yes, of course.
Then the holiday came and it swallowed the aftermath.
Yes.
But the MPP retained the seat.
Of course.
Now, today's story, which is of interest to me, is Professor Mia Kumfi's call that lessons should be learnt.
Of course.
You think lessons have been learnt, or lessons have been learnt?
Those who will learn the lesson, there be people that must learn the lesson. They are the ones who have a lesson to learn. It's not for all Ghanaians. The lesson is for the NPP as a party.
And then for the opposition as well. You must learn.
If the opposition want to learn, they can learn. If they don't want to learn,
then it is their own cup of tea.
But politics is a self-interest game. So something that you say that is the, excuse me to say, common sense thing to do. The politicians don't see it like that, because for them, if it is done that way, somebody's interest will not be what? That is why we see a lot of insane things happen in politics. It's not that they don't know that what they are doing is wrong. It's not that they don't know that if they do it the other way around, it will be better. However, someone's interest is at stake, and the person will need to protect that interest. So that person is going to make sure that the wrong things is that, so he or she will benefit. That is why we see a lot of insane things happening in politics. It's simply because people are fighting for interest. Their party's interest is not their interest. They want something to be done, and as long as it will be done along that route, it's fine. If everybody loses, but he or she gains
alone,
that is all. That is the problem of political parties. That's the biggest problem parties have in this country. People are interested in their individual interests and above everything. That's
even the national interest.
But that is what it is. When we vote governments into power, I want to tell people that know that those people, they are thinking about 80% about themselves and 20% about the nation. That is what people don't know. When the people go into office, they are thinking about their well-being first.
Okay. How
they can be better off. You think that you voted them to go there and think about how all of us can be better, especially the less privileged. Unfortunately, that's not it. They think about themselves first. They spent money to get to that office. How do they recruit their investment? How do they make sure they are well positioned to contest the next election? How do they position themselves that even when they are out of power, they don't get broke? They have all kinds of expectations once they go into office. Meanwhile, the other person who voted for them also is having the expectation that, oh, we voted for these people to go and think about us. Unfortunately, they will think about us, the people who voted for them, 20%, and the remaining 80% is about them. It's thinking about how to position his or her children so that they will not be like you who is struggling. So they have their own expectations. So when we vote governments into power and we have such high expectations of them, sometimes I get disappointed in people. The person who you have appointed into office, once he gets appointment, says, thank God, now I can fulfill my dreams. That is why there's a lot of lobbying when it comes to appointment. That's why people go out there and cry. People complain. People do all kinds of things simply because they have not received an appointment. Because it is only to the appointment that those individual dreams and expectations can be met. So at the end of the day, when we vote for people and our expectations that, oh, they said they will do this, they will do that, so we have voted for them, they should do it. Well, in doing that, in doing what they promise you, their main expectation is that they themselves will be better off than you. They themselves will position their family, friends, and relations at a better than you. So the thinking is not generally about we're doing a lot for the ordinary person. And I always say, politicians don't think about the ordinary people that much. They think about themselves, their well-being, the well-being of their family, friends, or relations before they come and think about you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Elvis Darko, for coming through for news headlines. Coming up at 6:50, Nia Kwe, the sportscaster, with the sports news. And then at the top of the hour 7, we have our business news. This is still Zed in the Morning right here on Z 101.9 FM.
Here's Mensah, this is positive. Williams, Kudos, the Korean joy did not last for long.
Oh my gosh, Kudos, the piranha from Guyana.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Zed 101.9 FM.
All right, so time check is 50 minutes past the hour of 6 on a Thursday. It's the Thursday edition of Zed Sports, and thank you for staying tuned. Coming up this morning, Hatzavuk struggles continue with a 4th defeat in 5 games. The University of Ghana Sports Stadium to host the Wafu B Under-17 tournament. And another epic night in Europe as Jadon Sancho starts for Dortmund and they edge PSG in the first leg of the semi-final at the Signal Iduna Park. All right, let's jet off from the local front. As per usual, Hearts of Oak were beaten 1-0 by Accra Lions in the Ghana Premier League at the Accra Sports Stadium yesterday, with Ibrahim Issa's second half strike proving decisive. Despite getting close through Linda Mtangi, Salim Adams, Hamza Issa and Dennis Kosa, it was the visitors who emerged victorious in the capital derby. The Phobians have now lost back-to-back after they lost 2-0 at Legon City's last time out. Hearts of Oak assistant coach Abdul Rahim Bashiru spoke to the media after the game. Let's take a listen.
Yeah, that's football. You know, we started so well. Even we're supposed to finish the game in the first half. We have some decent chances, but I couldn't take it, you know. In the second half, yes, still we are controlling the game before they score. So to me, I can't tell you the reason why. You know, I don't know whether we lost focus or what, but you can see we be trying, but they defend so well, and their goalkeeper did very, very well. So we have to congratulate them. No, I don't think so, because from the blow of the whistle, we are controlling the game. You can see that we are out of the intense of ball possession and everything. You know, even in the first half, there are a lot of spaces within them. You know, that we should have punished them, but I couldn't take our chances. So I don't think they play better than us. Just that they take their chance that they had and score the goal. That's the difference.
And so a tale of missed opportunities for the Phobians. Accra Lions head coach Ibrahim Tanko was absolutely delighted with the result, and he spoke to the press after the game as well.
Yeah, well, I think the boys did very well from the first half. And normally we have to make the game easy for us when Yaya had this chance. But in all, I said it before the game that there's always a first time, and the way we are playing this season, definitely we can beat any team. And I congratulate the boys. Yeah, well, I mean, we give them confidence in terms of playing. We know they are good, but I think we have to side them in any away game. because Premier League is not easy when we are playing away. But I think this year the boys have done very well and they are playing into instructions. Yeah. Well, I told you before, there's always a first time. We beat Kotoko this season, like you said, and then against us, we know it's going to be a tough. And we told the boys they should play our normal game. Definitely the chances will come and then we'll make use of it. Fortunately, we scored one, but the one with Yaya, I think he have to score. And then, but in all 3 points against us, of hope is good.
All right, there's the verdict from Ibrahim Tanko. We move on to our next story. The University of Ghana Sports Stadium will host the 2024 WAFU Zone B Under 17 tournament, which will be staged in Accra from May the 15th to 29th. The WAFU Zone B tournament serves as the qualifying pathway for the 2024 Under 17 Africa Cup of Nations. This year's edition will feature Ghana's Black Starlets, Cote d'Ivoire, and Benin in Group A, with Nigeria, Burkina Faso, and Niger, Togo also making Group B. Training pitches selected for the teams to prepare for matches include the Athletics Oval Field, the Mensa Saba Field, and the Union Ghana Soccer Field, all located at the University of Ghana. And now to the international front, beyond the shores of Ghana, and news making the rounds around the globe. Jadon Sancho was the star of the show as Borussia Dortmund edged PSG by 1-0 in a pulsating Champions League semi-final first leg through Niklas Füllkrug's fine winner. The England winger gave Nuno Mendes a torrid time throughout and could easily have had a hat-trick of assists had his teammates had their shooting boots on. Speaking to the media after the game, Sancho said the tie is only far from over.
No, I appreciate it, but it's not over. We still got to go to Paris and hopefully we can get the job done there. But I appreciate the compliments and, hopefully I can carry on. Definitely, I take it game by game and, performances like today, I just hope it just carries on and, I appreciate the compliments. It's a great question. Obviously, I came here at 17 and they gave me the opportunity to play my professional football, so I'm just delighted with all the staff and the players that welcomed me back, and I always give it my everything in front of the fans. Yeah, I really don't know, but I'm just focused on just the present right now. So.
All right, so an epic encounter awaits us at the Parc des Princes in the second leg of the UEFA Champions League. Now, moving on to our next story, the Premier League has missed out on the 5th Champions League spot next season. Borussia Dortmund's victory over PSG, coupled with Bayern Munich's draw with Real Madrid on Tuesday, takes the German total in the European performance spot table to 18.356. Even if Aston Villa were to win both legs of their Europa Conference League semi-final against Olympiacos and go on to lift the trophy, England can only reach 18.25. Germany will now join Italy in getting a 5th automatic spot in the next season's tournament. All right, now moving on. Chelsea manager Mauricio Pochettino expects yet another emotional night when the side take on his former club Spurs in the Premier League later tonight, but said his focus remains on grabbing all 3 points at Stamford Bridge. Pochettino guided Spurs to the 2019 Champions League final and turned them into Premier League title contenders as they finished in the top 4 for 4 straight seasons before he was fired after a 5-year stay in North London. Let's take a listen.
Of course, always emotional because we are going to meet people that we work for a long period. And yes, what I cannot hide is my emotion for the club. And I think it's going to be emotional because always when you face your former team and when the history was good, that always you remember and of course. But I think it's like I told before, 90 minutes. We want to win, and Tottenham for sure is going to come here to try to win also, and it's going to be for sure a good win.
Now, Spurs boss Ange Postecoglou joked yesterday that he was packing his bags for Sweden because the country has rejected VAR, which has again been in the spotlight in the Premier League. Nottingham Forest felt aggrieved at a number of decisions in their recent defeat against Everton, whilst Chelsea also had a stoppage time winner ruled out in their 2-2 draw against Aston Villa. Ange Postecoglou spoke to the press.
Yeah, no, it's here to stay. Absolutely, it's not going away. change a hell of a lot on it. But again, I've said before that I think it's changed the game materially, which I don't think was the intention when it was brought in. And I watched the Champions League last night like everyone else did. If you hadn't have told me VAR was part of that game, I wouldn't have known. And I'm sure they had decisions to make, but it seemed to run pretty seamlessly. It just seems, like I said, we're I don't know, we're trying to sort of pick the bones out of every little thing that happens in a football game at the moment, whether that's refereeing or any other part. And I don't like it. I've said it before, because it's changed the game. It changed the game experience. It's a different game, whether you're involved or you're not involved. So in terms of an active participant or a spectator. But hopefully they'll find the right sort of ground for it to work.
The controversy of VAR continues to linger on, and Ange Postecoglou having a say on his thoughts on the technology. Now into a final story. Aston Villa manager Unai Emery says securing a top 4 finish in the Premier League remains the priority, but there's no way it will distract his team from the club's first European major semi-final in 42 years. Villa have enjoyed a transformational season under Emery and could qualify for the Champions League this weekend if Spurs lose at Chelsea on Thursday. On the same night, Villa hosts Greek side Olympiacos in the first leg of their Europa Conference League semi-final. Let's take a listen to Unai Emery.
You know, because always I was speaking about Europe. Even when I arrived here, my first objective to get with Aston Villa was the same like now, to get to Europe. Of course, Europe is Conference League, Euro League, Champions League. And last year we did a very big effort and we achieved it, Conference League. And now we are enjoying, really enjoying. We are testing as well how the difficulties is Europe. Even Conference League, even playing against some teams, their leagues at the beginning, their level is less than us. But we started this competition after to play against Hibernian. We started in Barça when we lost. We played against 3 skiing groups and we were so close to draw here at home. We won at the last minute, in the minute 93, and we draw in 3 ski.
All right, that was Unai Emery speaking on his size chances in Europe and also in the domestic competition, the English Premiership. And on that note, we bring the show to a close here on Z Sports. My name is Niakwe, the sportscaster. I'll be back later at 5:15 p.m. My colleague Gatuso Race to the Power 7 will be here with all the details on a very, very excruciating weekend of football coming up. Until then, remember the business segment is next. Until then, the message is always simple but relevant. Do not count the days. Whatever happens, make the days count.
Williams, Kudus, the Korean joy did not last for long.
Morning and welcome to the business news segment of Zed in the Morning. In the headlines, government promises friendlier business operating climate. Ghana Shippers Authority moves to increase transparency and accountability in trade. And on the international business scene, U.S. Fed holds key interest rates and warns on inflation. Let's settle for the details. Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Madam Shirley Ayoko-Botchwey, has touted government's efforts in making the business operating environment in Ghana friendlier than previously. Madam Botchwey told investors in Accra that government was not oblivious of the importance of maintaining strong bilateral and economic relations with the country's partners to attract the much-needed foreign direct investment, critical for the building of a robust Ghanaian economy.
Ghana's domestic and foreign policies underscore the importance of maintaining strong bilateral economic relations with our international partners to attract the much-needed foreign investment towards the building of a strong and resilient Ghanaian economy. In this regard, while I'm happy to note that Ghana has over the years leveraged on its cordial relations with key partners to enter into mutually beneficial bilateral economic agreements, I believe that it is time to review some of these agreements so that they reflect the changing and dynamic international economic situation. The government of Ghana's foreign policy is a people-centered one, and that is why immediately after assumption of office in 2017, the Akufo-Addo-led government, in its bid to enhance our economic diplomacy and reposition same to champion Ghana's economic interest in our international engagements, re-established the Economic Trade and Investment Bureau in the Foreign Ministry. And this was and still is to champion our economic transformation agenda through Ghana's missions abroad in the promotion of Ghanaian goods and services, while liaising with institutions such as the GIPC, the GEPA-GEPA, the Ministry of Trade, as well as the private sector.
That was the Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Madam Shirley Ayoko-Botchwey. In other news, in a bid to enhance transparency and accountability in the shipping and logistics sector, the Ghana Shippers Authority has initiated steps to sign service-level agreements with stakeholders in the industry. The objective is to ensure that both shippers and shipping service providers fulfill their obligations to each other, thus fostering economic growth. The agreements will delineate the responsibilities of shipping service providers towards shippers, streamline port clearance processes, and provide guidance on cost avoidance strategies. Director of Operations at the authority, Mrs. Sylvia Asana Dauda Owu, stated that the GSA was actively working to enforce the provisions outlined in the Ghana Shippers Authority regulations.
As an agency established to champion the interests of importers, exporters in Ghana, the authority is of the firm belief that where shippers do not occasion delays, they should not bear the associated cost. This requires all stakeholders in the shipping value chain to be minded about the cost of their actions or inactions. To improve service delivery in the industry, I'm pleased to indicate that the Ghana Shippers Authority is currently initiating steps to implement the provisions of Ghana Shippers Authority Regulation 2012 LI 2190, Section 6, related to service standards to ensuring minimum standards and quality of shipping services to shippers. One key aspect of the implementation is signing of service-level agreements with shipping service providers, which is expected to foster accountability in the industry.
On the international business scene, the U.S. Central Bank again said it would keep interest rates unchanged, noting a lack of further progress toward lowering inflation. By keeping borrowing costs high, the Fed is hoping to cool the economy and reduce the pressure pushing up prices. But with inflation in the U.S. proving more persistent than expected, the bank is facing questions about its next move. Analysts who have expected the bank to start cutting rates early this year have been forced to postpone forecasts, and some have even raised the possibility of a rate raise. At a press conference following the announcement, Fed Chairman Jerome Powell said he thought that a rate increase was unlikely, while repeating that officials wanted greater confidence that inflation was easing before moving to cuts. That's all we have by way of business news on Zed in the Morning. Jerry Ham continues.
Zed 101.9 FM.
Well, in the second hour of the show, that thanks the edition of Zed in the Morning. Top story. The president is assuring us that a new labor law is going to be passed. Today on Top Story, we're going to be talking to a labor expert on what this new labor law entails and how it's going to affect the average Ghanaian. Still Zed in the Morning on Zed 101.9 FM. You're a business that is growing, but you're not growing at the rate that you thought you should be growing at. Why? Because it is not getting the kind of attention your business, your product, your services, your offering, whatever you put in out there is not getting the necessary attention. Is it because the audience, your target market, are not getting the message right? This is why you need to trust ZFM and the New Finder newspaper. They are coming together and they putting together an amazing advertising package just for you. Yes, you listening to me, you watching me right now. There is an advertising package ready for you. Call 0544 35 1019 0544 35 1019, and they would give you the very best in advertising. Let ZFM and the New Finder newspaper be the voice of your business. Yeah, we're in the month of May. It's May 2nd, 2024. You've been at home for some weeks, some months, even a whole year. You are in the area of sales and marketing. You don't have a job, but there is a good company, a reputable company that is looking for someone with your experience, with your expertise, with your qualification. Why don't you call 0544 35 1019 0544 35 1019. This could be the job you've been waiting for. Yeah, this is your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio, Z101.9 FM. Enjoy the best shows on this dial. You don't want to miss on some of the most exciting shows this side of the equator. You want to listen to Z101.9 FM this and every Sunday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and Wednesdays 7 p.m. to all through to 10 p.m. It's Country Express with Tommy Annan-Forsen. Yes, that's Tommy Annan-Forsen, the legend, the one they call the King of Country. He's here every Sunday 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. every Wednesday 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. with a show titled Country Express right here on Z101.9 FM. Are you aware that Living Word with Dr. Mensah Otabil is also here, coming to you 5:30 and Mondays to Fridays right here on Z101.9 FM. Living Word with Dr. Mensah Otabil this and every Monday to Friday 5:30 a.m. daily. But preceding Dr. Mensah Otabil's show at 5:30, there is a 5 a.m. Show with the anointed man of God, Pastor Joshua Eneste. Morning blessings. It comes your way this and every Monday to Friday at 5 a.m. Start the day. Wake up early morning. Join Pastor Joshua NST as he gives you morning blessings right here on Z 101.9 FM. So his is 5 a.m. and then 5:30. Dr. Mensa Otabil takes over, and then at 5:55 your show, the Zed in the Morning breakfast show, also takes over. So that's how your Mondays to Fridays normally would happen. And then Zed in the Morning takes you from 5:55 all through to 9:55. And at the top of the hour, 10 o'clock, comes the brighter side with NYA the brand. The brighter side with NYA the brand comes your way Mondays to Fridays, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. This and every Monday to Friday. You don't want to miss out on the show that takes you to your late breakfast, lunch, brunch, whichever one it is. NYA the brand coming your way with the brighter side. Yes, and then also you want to tune into Z101.9 FM and listen to Highway 1019. Highway 1019 is from Mondays all through to Fridays, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Ofuriwa Oyo and Ngozi Boateng take you through the Z101.9 drive called Highway 1019. Highway 1019 comes your way Mondays to Fridays, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. This and every Tuesday, I have a story to tell. No, not I. I mean, I have a story to tell. That's the name of the show. It's hosted by Honorable Fritz Bafo, and the show is from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. every Tuesday. I have a story to tell where he's interviewing amazing Ghanaians doing amazing stuff. You want to tune in to I Have a Story to Tell every Tuesday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Time with Professor Stephen Adai comes your way every Saturday at 8 a.m. Tune into Z101.9 FM every Saturday at 8 a.m. and listen to Professor Stephen Adai. Yes, the Professor Stephen Adai you've heard of. He's here with us at Z101.9 FM, and the show has the theme Abundant Living. So listen to him and get nuggets of wisdom that will make your life a lot more abundant. Z101.9 FM every Sunday. DDM David Aquamensa comes your way with Z Gospel Groove every Sunday 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. He takes you to church and brings you back in the name of Jesus. He is the anointed man with a beard. Look out for him. Listen to Z101.9 FM every Sunday 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Z Gospel Groove with DDM. It's a Thursday, so why don't we do a throwback Thursday? This is Cool and the Gang with Get Out On It.
It's your lifestyle, lurcher, and business radio.
We look forward to the responsible agencies for redress, stressing that over the years the government had noted the challenges confronting the National Labour Commission in the discharge of its mandate. Consequently, the fundamental changes being proposed in the new labour law are in tandem with the government's policy of ensuring that the backlog of cases regarding labour disputes become a thing of the past. President Akufo-Addo disclosed that between 2017 and 2023, a total number of 4,207 cases were recorded at the NLC. The Commission settled 2,678 cases, representing 64% of the cases it handled, leaving some 36% unresolved. So these are some of the reasons why the new labor law is so important. We're going to talk to a labor expert about the new labor law and find out how it's going to affect the average Ghanaian worker.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Zed 101.9 FM.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Yeah, so I mean, as a background to this story, let's go through the Labor Act 2003 Act 651 and to give you some of the provisions within that act, so that when we're talking to the labor expert, we have a good background to start on. The act was passed by Parliament of the Republic of Ghana on 25th July 2003, and presidential assent was given to it on 8th October 2003, gazetted on 10th October 2003. The act came into force on 31st March 2004, and is a very important piece of social legislation which requires willingness of social partners to accept and embrace change. It's key. The act applies to all workers. You see what I said? You cannot drive to work today without thinking about this labor law and the importance of it. It is going to apply to all workers. The old one applies to all workers and to all employers, except, and they're going to give some exceptions, right? The armed forces, the police service, the prison service, and then the security and intelligence agencies specified under the Securities and Intelligence Act, Agencies Act 1996, which is now the Securities and Intelligence Agencies Act 2020. So it is very important that every employer, every worker, with the exception of the armed forces, the police service, the prison service, and then the securities and intelligence agencies. The act has 7 broad aims, and these are: the first one is to bring all existing legislation on labor into conformity with the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, and then that is the first broad aim. For example, even though the 1990 Constitution provides in Article 21 that all persons shall have the right to freedom of association, which shall include freedom to form and join trade unions or other associations, national or international, for the protection of their interest, the existing law on trade union virtually creates a monopoly of trade unions in favor of TUC, right? In favor of TUC. So something that this provision is going to look at, right? It is going to look at. Then number 2, to bring all the existing legislation on labor into conformity with the several ILO, as International Labour Organization conventions, to which Ghana is a signatory. 3, to provide a more user-friendly legislation in language and content to decriminalize some industrial and labor issues. To provide a more responsive and flexible legal regime that would allow a proactive treatment and resolution of labor issues and disputes. That's also very important. And then to bring within the act good practices which have developed over the years outside the existing law, so as to give legal basis for these practices. Creates rooms for the operation of the National Tripartite Committee under sections 112 to 115. The NTC is known in Ghana when it comes to fixing of daily minimum wage. All these things were outside of the ambit of the old law, so the new one was supposed to bring it under it. Then the last one was to rationalize government's role as policy maker as well as as an employer. So the structure of Act 651, the Act has 20 parts, 179 sections and 4 schedules, the interpretations, and then the 69 pages. All these are very, very relevant to the old Act. I'm still talking the old Act. I'm talking Act 651. That's the Labor Act 2003. But now we're going to have to 2024. So this is more than 20 years ago. Just to give you a good background of it. What are the challenges? What are the challenges that the old one sought to resolve? Is the management of the potential multiplicity of workplace unions, the issues of the classes of workers who should be unionized and who should not be handled and should not be handled and who should not be handled with candor, operationalizing the institutions, especially the National Labour Commission, Labour Department, National Tripartite Committee, private employment centers. Yeah, so Act 651 has been on our books for the past 20-something years. It's 21 years. So, and now we're about to have a new one. So it is important that we tackle it and find out. Yes, the president said by close of year, we should have this act sorted out. But what does this new one entail, which is different from 651? What are the provisions of this new act that would ensure that the average Ghanaian worker is well protected and the rights of the average Ghanaian worker is clearly handled by this new act? We're going to talk to a labor expert, and when we get him, he's going to tell us all this and more.
This is It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Yeah, it's Thursday. It's Thanksday, like I like to say, 2nd May 2024. This is Zed in the Morning right here on Zed 101.9 FM. You remember, we're doing throwbacks, so let's do John Cicada, Just Another Day.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
101.9 FM.
following 2 decades of operationalization. Act 651 is currently undergoing a review so as to position the law to meet up with the current trend. So after 20 years, this review has gone on, and yes, we're being told by the president that it is going to come through. Yesterday was a Labor Day, the International Labor Day, and we had a good celebration. The president was there to tell workers that there is a new law coming up. What does this new law entail? Of course, the president couldn't have given all that at that brief event, but we're trying to get through to one of our labor experts, and when we get him, he's going to tell us what this law entails and why Ghanaian workers should be excited. It's the labor law, which is our top story for today, and is also the front page, the big front page story of the Finder in the news by Daniel Nono, our very own Daniel Nono. He said government is on the verge of enacting a new comprehensive and contemporary labor law that protects the interest of all actors in the labor force in the country. The new law, which when enacted will, among other things, propose substantial changes to the structure, architecture, and judicial functions of the National Labour Commission. And this was from the president's speech at the 2024 National May Day Parade at Independence Square in Accra. The president said that with the cooperation of Parliament, the new Labour Act can be promulgated before the end of this year.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Zed 101.9 FM. Zed 101.9 FM.
Yeah, Mr. Austin Game is no new face in the labor front, so we are excited to have Mr. Austin Game of Game and Game, for those of us who remember, on the line. Good morning, sir.
Morning, how are you?
Fine, thank you, sir, and we hope you're doing well.
Great.
Sir, the president has assured Ghanaian workers that by close of year, with the cooperation of Parliament, there will be a new Labour Act that can be promulgated before the end of the year. Is that cause to be happy or excited for by the Labour front? Is there cause to be excited based on this new act?
I don't know whether people know about the content. It's the same old law that have been transposed. Few things have been added that are already in certain laws, except one or two things. So it's the same old law. I think it's just an expression of some concern that some people might have. Whether Parliament can pass it or not is another matter. Labour law is not supposed to be addressed hurriedly. No country in this world undertakes to change labour law in a hurry. It took us more than 4 years to 5 years to write the one that is currently in place. So you cannot hurriedly change labour law. But this is not his demand, it's the demand of working people, labour unions, that are asking for certain clarification, and which has been, and I participated myself actively in it. So it's nothing new, and I'm not too sure whether Parliament can have the time for it. They're about to all jump into the bush for campaign. So, but it's a nice effort. I mean, Ghana is one of the few nations where we take time off to stick to our labour law. And so it's not a bad effort on the part of the tripartite body. And like I said, I participated in it in Ho. I participated in it in Accra. We finished the first piece of the draft. It's a draft. it's not yet over. So I'm not too sure whether it can be passed before the end of the year.
So, sir, if you could help us, our listeners as well, what are some of these new provisions that have been put into this act?
There's nothing really new. It's the labor setting workmen's compensation, which is already part of an existing law that they are putting into the law, and also bringing some clarity, which normally should be sent into an LI, legislative instrument or regulation, wanting to give some sort of bite to the Labour Commission. People were trying to find a way of changing certain things to make the Labour Commission virtually not working properly. But we didn't, the same labour unions, a few of us, indeed even some officers from the Ministry of Employment, we did not accept it because it does appear it's been something being smuggled into the law. We didn't agree to it. So the same old thing has been fully retained. Absolutely nothing really changing per se. But maybe somebody wants to have his name abstract to it. That's it.
So the Labour Act 2003, Act 651, are we saying because of the time that was put into it, it's really stood the test of time, which is why this new one is just having little changes, as it were?
Extremely negligible. Extremely negligible. Whatever thing that is being, it brings some clarity, which normally, if I'm doing it, I would have put it in an LI for clarity. Because labor law is not supposed to be bulky. It's not supposed to be bulky. All laws are not supposed to be bulky. But we live in a contemporary world, and therefore, if people want certain change, there's nothing wrong, like I said. And I participated in it, so it's not an injurious thing. Nothing new, per se.
Okay, well put, sir. With listeners, we're talking to Mr. Austin Game, who happens to be the founder and chief executive of Pulse Institute Africa, formerly Game and Game Academy of Mediation.
No. Let me do the connection.
Okay, sir.
Game and Game Group. The company is Game and Game Group. Pulse Institute is a working name that we use to run certain programs. That's just about it.
Okay, sir. Thank you for the correction, sir. But the current law, what are the main challenges that the 20 years of its operation has shown?
That even is, I don't know whether Parliament is, when they are really, really free and are going through the, things, whether they will accept that or not. People are claiming that all forms of work are just entitled to a severance and therefore a redundancy pay. Therefore, under Section 66 of the old law, it says that certain forms of work, such as sharecroppers. If you know what is called sharecroppers are like in Accra they say ebunu ebusa. This kind of work people plus contract work. If you yourself you are a contractor and you have won a bid to construct a road from one end to another end, and it will take you 2 years to construct that road. I don't expect any such person to go and employ people permanently when the contract you have won will last for 2 years. And people seem to be so happy to say that those people who are entitled to redundancy pay. It's not done anywhere in the world. And so I wonder if Parliament will accede to that kind of request. But sufficing to say this is their desire. Normally, what should be done, that's why I said LI. In an LI, it will be explained that those kind of people will be paid an all-inclusive pay and pay their social security, pay their second tier, and so they make their own. They are like self-employed people. They have contracts. The contract will end 2 years. I cannot make it permanent. And the world is changing, and Ghana can't go back. So, as far as I'm concerned, when the draft is over and we are meeting again to do winnowing of it, some of us will highlight it again, let people know that you cannot make contractors permanent people. The language is contract. And that is it. Those are the things that people were worried about. And also unionization. People wanted even the army to be part of the union. They want the police to be part of the union. They want the fire service to be part of the union. Part of that case is in Supreme Court now. So we cannot change it. And the Constitution has to be amended before. Because the Constitution of Ghana says that people in security agencies cannot form part of it. The Constitution under Article 24, 3 to 4, thereabout, says so. So you cannot change a thing like that. I am pretty sure that Parliament will not, in their right, happy, state, will never assist to that. So that will be a breach of the Constitution of that. So those are some of the concerns the trade unions have. We've raised a lot of concerns about it, yet to satisfy people, it has been put there as part of the draft. So we are waiting.
Okay, sir. The president has said that this new law will be the most concrete act of gratitude on his part to the leadership and members of this generation of organized labor who have proved to be responsible in their stewardship. Are you listening to that, and what are your thoughts on President saying, I'm going to push this through as a way of saying thank you for what you've done during my term?
Well, it's up to him. He's the head of state. He's the first gentleman of the land. If you think that is something that is good for the people, I don't know whether he has read it. I don't think he has read it yet. Cabinet has not even seen it yet. It's still being put through before it will be sent to cabinet. But that is a normal political statement, and it's good. There's nothing wrong with that. If I were to be in his shoes and in his state, I will say the same thing. So he can say so, but I don't think it's anything. The old law, this is the same old law that is being there. And this was passed during President Kufuor's time. It was done during his time. It was passed through President Kufuor's time. And he played a major role. The president, he was then Attorney General. He played a major role in the making of that law. I know it perfectly. I don't need anybody to tell me. But I did it together with him. So I don't know what you're talking about, but I didn't hear that portion. I'm hearing it from you.
Okay, sir. I want to also, let's moving on from the law itself. This past week, there's been talk of SNIT not going beyond 2036 in issues of reserves running dry and all that. Is the Ghanaian worker protected after work? After the years of labor, are Ghanaian workers really that protected?
I thought that is the thing the president should have elaborated on extensively. If that would be the whole speech for the day, that's what should have been the case, and not the labor law. The labor law is nothing wrong with it. But I think that it's up to the workers to examine themselves and find out whether they are protected or not. And let their conscience help them decide for themselves. Me, I am 75 years old, I am not going to be taking any pension from anybody. And if those of them who are working now think that they are protected, then that is their cup of tea. But I have spoken extensively. This thing that ILO said was only said now, but we knew it since 2006, thereabouts. We were writing the pension scheme and told. I've said it several times, so I don't know why people are confident still shouting and praising one another for the pension scheme. I don't know why Smith cannot be candid with the people. I don't know why people who have their money with Smith and with the second tier with fund managers and the provident fund, those who are paying it, the fund managers cannot sit up and think through it and know that they are in danger if we continue with the kind of economic measures that we have now. It's a serious matter than you have asked the question. Including yourself, I'm sure you are not a very old person.
No, sir.
Yes, you are contributing to Smith yourself. Your future must be decided today or tomorrow.
That quite paints a bleak picture for the Ghanaian worker. But let's also find out from you, sir, what labor issues such as child labor and unfair labor practices are currently up for discussion, and was it part of the discussions into these amendments that we want to put in 651?
Everything about child labor, everything about unfair labor practices are already in the law, 651. So it's been transposed into this one they are calling labor bill. It's a bill. It's not yet a law. And there's nothing new. This was properly taken through 4 years rigorous preparation before it was passed. You can't use 1 year to write a complete labor law. It's not done anywhere in the world. It's people's life. So that is a good effort. And like I said, I participated in it. Very, very good effort. It reminds me of how really people think. So there's nothing wrong. But then all those things are already in the existing law. It is transposed, and I hope and pray that it will benefit people.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. We've been talking to Mr. Austin Game, one of the finest brains in the labor space in this country. Thank you so much, sir, for talking to us on Z101.9 FM. Have a great day, sir.
In the heart of Accra, nestled in the vibrant neighborhood of East Legon and New Beacon, a 360 multimedia firm has emerged. Introducing Zed Multimedia. With a steadfast focus on lifestyle, leisure and business, we set out to bring high-value oriented programs that captivate the taste and desires of our audience. From the captivating airwaves of Z101.9 FM to the dynamic visuals of Zed TV and the innovative realms of Zed Digital and the incubation of advanced technological knowledge at Z Tech, every facet of modern media is meticulously curated to engage and inspire. Also, let's not forget the New Finder newspaper, now under the Z Multimedia umbrella, delivering insightful journalism with a business focus. Join us on the journey where innovation meets inspiration, where lifestyle meets leisure, and where business thrives. Change is here. Z Multimedia, your lifestyle, leisure and business platform.
of the ways in which a business can provide value. We've been looking at from last week, Monday, we'll be looking at some of the ways by which a business can provide value. 10 ways. We started with product. We went on to service. We went on to shared resources. We've spoken about audience aggregation. We've spoken about leasing, agency. Today, what is the other way by which a business can provide value? When we say a business can provide value, we're asking, what are the forms of businesses, or how can a business actually make money in the market? Today we're looking at a very controversial one. Right? Controversial because it is not for everybody. It is not for everybody. Audience aggregation, we spoke about that yesterday. We spoke about agency, where there is an agent and there is a principal and then there's a consumer and all that. Today we're looking at loans. Yes, a loan. Why is it controversial? Because yes, as a country, it's been quite a tricky minefield to walk. Some have gone in there and gotten themselves blown away, money's lost and lives and all that affected negatively. So loans are not for everybody. And even in Ghana, you must be licensed to do that kind of business. But that does not mean it's not a way of providing value. So long as it's another way of providing value, right here on Business Briefs, we are going to give you the information just for you to know that that is another way in which you can enter the market. If you get your license and your everything right, this is just the best business you can go into. A loan involves an agreement to let the borrower use a certain amount of resources for a certain period of time. So the understanding is this: just as leasing, you are able to use a product that or an asset that you couldn't afford an upfront payment for in terms of purchasing. In a loan, it is the same thing, but however, the difference is that the asset is money. The asset is not a building, it's not a car, it's not a lawnmower, it is not a tool or an equipment, it is money. So you let the borrower use a certain amount of resources for a period of time. In exchange, the borrower must pay the lender a series of payments over a predefined period of time, which is equal to the original loan plus a predefined interest rate. So basically, if we began talking about this, we're talking the financial institutions, i.e. the banks. In order to provide value via loans, you must 1, have some amount of money to lend. 2, find people you want to borrow who want to borrow that money. 3, set an interest rate that compensates you adequately for the loan, and then estimate and protect against the possibility that the loan won't be repaid. Yes, so before you give, know that it's possible that money will never come back again, which is why a wise man has said, if you're a business person and a colleague walks to you and says, lend me an amount of money, make sure that the amount you are able to give to the person, if it doesn't come back again, it wouldn't affect your friendship. That's good advice. If you ask me, just give it to the person. If the person brings it back, all well and good. If it doesn't bring it back, that's cool. So if there's not an amount you can afford, he says, give me 200 and all you can afford is 20. Tell him that I can't give you 200, I can give you 20. Why? If he doesn't bring the 20, it won't destroy the relationship. That's just on this side. Loans are beneficial to the lender because they provide a way to benefit from excess capital. The addition of compound interest on top of the original loan, the principal, means that the lender would collect much more than the original loan. After the loan is made, additional work is required on the part of the lender aside from just collecting your payments, unless the borrower stops making payments, right? Accordingly, the process of identifying how risky, which is the business of money. The business of money is always about the risk, how risky it is. You do what we call underwriting, right? You look at it and see, critically analyze the facility and see how bad it can go or how good it can go. You often require a sort of asset which we call the collateral to protect the risk of a loan going sour. If the loan is not repaid, ownership of the collateral is transferred to the borrower, and then the borrower, if you have the legal remit, you know what to do with it. You can sell it to recoup your money or not. So that is another way by which a business can come into the market via a loan. So we've spoken about leasing, shared resources, we've spoken about audience aggregation, we've spoken about agency. Today we've tackled a loan. It's business, but it's business of money. You sell and you buy money. Selling and buying money. That's Business Briefs right here on Zed in the Morning. Top of the hour 8. What are we going into? We're going into the next segment of the show. The third hour of the show we call Zed Talk. We'll be back with that right after this. It's Thursday, the 2nd of May, the day after May Day. So today is also a bit heavy on labor. Yes, but there's something called a Workers' Manifesto. Trade Union Congress of Ghana, the TUC, has a vision for Ghana. We've been talking about the need for the two major parties or those that have ruled the country over the past few decades to come together so that we have a national plan, a national agenda. What is the National Planning Commission doing and all that? This call has been going on, but the TUC, the largest trade body in Ghana, also have their own manifesto. They call the Workers' Manifesto, TUC's vision for Ghana. We're going to be talking about TUC's vision for Ghana right here on Zed in the Morning. The line is 0544321019. It's a WhatsApp line. Send us your comments on 0544321019. You can follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, on X at ZFMGH, on TikTok and on YouTube is at Z Multimedia, and the website is zmultimedia.com. Send us your message and then let's talk about labor. Should all the parties come together and just look at the TUC vision and say, let's rope our manifestos into the TUC manifesto? It's an important discussion. Let's think about it.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Diao, the Secretary General of the Trade Union Congress. This is what the foreword of the manifesto says. He says that TUC, the Trade Union Congress Ghana, has played a very important role in the political, social, and economic development of Ghana. The role of the union in the struggle for independence from British colonial rule stands out as one of its greatest achievements. 66 years after political independence, Ghana is struggling to achieve economic independence. We still rely heavily on external support in spite of our enormous natural resource endowment. In 2022, following a debt crisis, Ghana sought a bailout from the IMF for $3 billion US. This was the 17th time Ghana has sought IMF support since 1967. We attribute the state of affairs in the Ghanaian economy to poor economic management and a lack of vision in planning the use of our resources. In the last 4 decades or so, Ghana has implemented an economic management framework based on the Washington Consensus, which is underpinned by the free market ideology. It is now very clear that the neoliberal approach to economic management is not appropriate for Ghana. We need homegrown solutions to our social and economic challenges. The economy is too important to be left in the hands of politicians. We should all get involved. Let me repeat that line. The economy is too important to be left in the hands of politicians. We should all get involved in the management of the economy and our natural resources. This manifesto presents TUC's vision for Ghana and outlines TUC's position and views on key policy areas, including social policy, economic policy, labor market policy, social protection policy, energy and power policy, and governance. The manifesto provides a basis for our engagement with government, political parties, and civil society organizations towards social, economic, and political development of Ghana. We still believe very strongly that Ghana can build an economy and a society that work for each and every Ghanaian. Let's build it. The economy is too important to be left in the hands of politicians. The economy is too important to be left in the hands of politicians. That was Dr. Anthony Yao Ban's forward to the Workers' Manifesto. Workers' Manifesto. I'm excitedly very, I'm jumping up and down about this. For the first time, I'm seeing something like this, and for me, it's quite exciting. TUC's vision for Ghana. If TUC were a political party and they won elections, this is what they are saying. That so let's look at the sections within this manifesto. Mr. Ovizdako is here. He will shed some light on this very important thing and whether the two main parties should take this up and run with it, or they should look at it and look at how they would handle the very important provisions in this very important manifesto by the TUC. 1. Social and human development policy, economic policy, labor market policy, energy and power policy, governance, and then the TUC actually has climate change and environment. Amazing. It's a 60-page manifesto, and I think all Ghanaians should get this manifesto, so that when your political party or your favorite politicians comes to you, you will use this as quite a yardstick, because they're making some very, very strong points. But for me, the part that excites me is the economy is too important to be left in the hands of politicians. Mr. Ovizdako, you're welcome back.
Thank you very much. Time and time, we have to talk about issues like this.
Okay, so Mr. Dako, this is coming from Emmanuel from Tema. It is right. The economy is too important to be left in the hands of politicians. As a punch from the TUC. What are your thoughts on the manifesto?
Oh, basically, it's a good thing, because they are Ghanaian people. We all want the best for the country. So we should all come up with what we think we want Ghana to be. And the Trade Union Congress, which is the umbrella body for workers' unions in Ghana, it's one of the major, because we have the Industrial and Commercial Workers' Union too as well. So TUC issuing this. The question is, why is it not coming under the umbrella of organized labor, which is like amalgamation of all various unions put together? Because I think the TUC has a very beautiful ideas they want, but then I would have expected that they would have brought on board all the other labor unions and say, look, let's all put together something and let's push it. So right now, TUC has it. They are the largest union. However, what about the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union? What about the other unions that exist? What is also their position? Will they also support the TUC, or will they see it as TUC alone's work, and therefore they will also not be interested or something? So I think that, but basically, I think that it's important that everybody takes interest in the country, because whatever happens in the country affects everybody. When it goes well, we all enjoy it. When it goes bad, we all suffer. So it's important that the CUC is making all this kind of announcement and everything. See, one problem I have with the labor unions in this country is that we have chosen as a people to go the way of democracy and free market operations. Generally, workers' unions are not in support of free market policies, because clearly they don't think that it benefits them. So if we are a country that is choosing free market policy approach, the question is, how are workers' unions recognizing that the nation has opted for a free market policy, and therefore they as workers' union should look at how they can complement that process? Because if you look at a lot of the proposal from the TUC, it's like everything is about government should do this. This should be done this way. You don't see the proposal that we as workers' union on this particular issue, this is what we propose that we can do to support the achievement of that. And this is where I think that we have to go a step further. For instance, I saw the issue of housing, and they are asking government to build social housing. Truth of the matter is that in this country, it's going to be impossible for any government to build a social housing for the people, because the economy is broke. We are a poor country. So if you are doing social housing you think that should look almost virtually free for the people. This is not realistic in our current circumstances. So I was expecting TUC to say, okay, we want affordable housing, but we have realized that it is impossible for government and private sector to put up affordable housing. So this is our proposal as TUC. We are coming up with a scheme that will come up with how much workers should contribute monthly into a fund. And that fund is going to become a housing fund for everybody that is under the TUC. And that housing fund, we will get architects to design houses that we believe that can be built that will be affordable. That housing fund, we want to collateralize it and ask government to go to the international market and get us some Eurobond, and then the proceeds from that fund will be used to service that Eurobond. So you can have upfront financing to put up these houses for workers. And that as we are the ones contributing, if there are state lands across Ghana, we want government to release those state lands for those housing schemes as government's contribution. And since to be government lands released, it means that government contribution to the project will be the land. And that will reduce the cost of the buildings, because then the workers are not paying for the land. And therefore, when we get the land for free, other things we want government also to put in there to support will be the utilities. The government must make provision for the utilities and services like roads and the others. I think that if the TUC is able to put a team together and they work out a framework and a big proposal, and they put themselves in there as part financiers of the project, and says that our members are willing to contribute maybe 100 Ghana cedis a month for the next 20 years to own a one-bedroom house. A member is willing to contribute maybe 500 Ghana cedis for the next 20 years to own a two-bedroom house. Our members are willing to contribute 1,000 Ghana cedis a month for the next 20 years to own a three-bedroom house. And these contributions will be collateralized, and government giving us guarantee to go to the market to borrow on our own balance sheet So the government is only a guarantor that in case we fail, they will pay. But because we have this financing arrangement where the workers are paying for it, then there's no way the payment will suffer for government to come in. However, because we want it to be an affordable housing scheme, government is contributing the land, government is providing utilities and other services to the area. Then I see that the workers of Ghana are prepared and willing to support government to achieve this. But when you say government should just build social housing and you leave it like that and you don't propose the manner in which this should be done, then I don't really see what you are telling government.
We must prioritize the implementation of social housing programs on a mass scale as public good and improve sanitation for the poor and vulnerable in our society. So you are saying they should contribute their quota. They should be part financiers.
They have to.
Okay.
They have to pay part of it.
Okay.
We the workers must be willing to pay part of it. That's why we have chosen a free market approach to everything that we are doing. That's the policy we have chosen as a country. Though workers union are more of socialist in mindset and who think that everything should be provided by government, where we are now as a country, it's impossible for government to provide that mass housing scheme they are talking about. Because the government, our country is broke. There's no money. We all want to get the country fixed. The question is, what is the contribution of the worker to that fixing? You see? And so I don't see these proposals as final. Because I think that if you don't tell me that the workers are going to contribute to it and you expect only government alone to do it, then your proposal in the first place will not work.
It's a manifesto.
Because the government does not have the money to do it. We are a broke country. And we have chosen a free market policy as a country that that's what we want to trade. So I think that the proposals look more of socialist demands. But people must let workers union to understand that critically, you must also show, aside working your normal work, your contribution aside that.
Put your skin in the game.
Which must be there. Your skin must be in it. And this brings me to the GRA proposal we are talking about this morning, where they are saying that if we can link pension benefits and health insurance
to tax
benefits to tax payment, and says that if you've proven that you pay the required taxes, then a portion of what you are paying is contributing for your pension scheme, and a portion of it is paying for your health care. This proposal puts my skin in the game, that if I pay the right taxes, my money has gone there, and therefore part of it is being used to pay my pension. This is the kind of proposal I would expect from TUC.
You think the average Ghanaian is too reliant on government?
Of course, it's a fact. It's a fact. And you see, this and GRA workers are under
TUC.
So why is that the TUC has not even considered this proposal? It means that probably the proposal have come back. Probably they had opened up and say all unions under this umbrella, bring your proposals as to how you think we can fix this country. We want to fix this country, but we think that every Ghanaian skin must be in it. Everybody's contribution must be there. Then the beautiful proposal put up by the GRA workers probably would have been featuring in this particular to the government. We are ready to help you raise revenue. We, the workers of Ghana, we are willing to help government raise the revenue. We are willing to do it by this approach. We want the tax rates to be reduced to this percentage. And when that is done, we, the workers, will ensure that every Ghanaian pay, including the informal sector, because this is the beautiful proposals that we are using to entice people to pay the taxes. It will surprise you that if we reduce tax rates and link the benefits to this kind of thing, you'll be shocked that the government may be making 10 times the taxes it's making now. Because for the many people that are not paying the taxes, if you realize that they say, if I pay my tax, I don't need to pay a different contribution to Senate. And that part of that money directly go into Senate contribution. And therefore, my pension is guaranteed. A lot of people in the informal sector will rush for these things. So I think that this idea of we are unions.
Okay, this is what they said concerning tax. Under 2.6, which is public debt, government revenue and expenditure, this is what they said concerning tax. Aggressive revenue mobilization is the ultimate solution. There is urgent need to plug the loopholes in the tax system. We must implement a tax exemption bill and move further to streamline the exemptions regime. The country must also build capacity to implement property taxes. In addition, we need a thorough review of our mining and petroleum sectors and their contribution to tax revenue. Ultimately, Ghana must at least own majority shares in companies that are exploiting our natural wealth. This is in the manifesto.
I agree, but see, it's just another talk. If you say we should collect property taxes, have you given us a modality? Because we all agree
and how you the TUC
this is the
can
point.
help.
We all agree that it's like the government is struggling to come out with those innovative ideas to do some of these things. So I expect the workers' union to say, look, government, we've studied the property tax system. We realize that you are finding it difficult to collect property. We have come out with this scheme as the best solution to collect property taxes. Then you are coming up with that proposal and pushing it to government that if you want to make money from property tax, use this approach, because we have put together experts, okay, who have worked on this, and they have come out that looking at the Ghanaian landscape, if you want to really be able to collect property tax, we have come out with this system. As I proposed here over and over, that I think that you, the person who owns the land, who has gone to register a lands commission, who when you are building, you go for permits and the rest, we should put all the cost of artisanal work, the labor cost, on you, the owner of the land. That you own this land, you are going to put out this infrastructure. We have assessed that by the time you are done, electrician's charge will be this amount. The mason would have charged this amount. The minimum rates, not the highest, the minimum rates. The one who did the tiling would have charged this. The air conditioning. So by the time you are done with those buildings, this will be the cost of labor in putting up this infrastructure. Since you own the land and we know you because you registered the land and everything, if you don't deduct this amount from the amount you pay your people who come to work for you, then you will be forced to pay on behalf of the state or on behalf of those people.
Yeah.
By so doing, you no longer are looking for air conditioning repair, fixer. You are no longer looking for the mason to pay, but now you put that burden on the person who owns the land. So if he refuses to take those charges from these people, that's what is done. Jerry, we are here. People tell us they work abroad and they work in restaurants and those places.
And they are still taxed.
The owners of the places make sure that even though it is paid on the table, they are not even on it, they paid on the table, still whatever taxes that is due the state, those small institutions take those monies from them before they are giving their money. So I think that if TUC had come and said, look, I think that if you put the burden on the owners of the land, whoever owns the land, put the burden of everything about it on that person, then you'll be making a lot of tax from all these artisans who are in the system, but they're not paying anything. Because chasing the artisans has been difficult for government, because government has not been able to register all artisans in this country. It has not been able to do it. But if you put the burden on the owner of the land, then you're likely to get all that.
Because he will come into contact with artisans.
Of course, because he's the one that is hiring them to come and do the work. And he is the one who has registered as lands commissioner. I bought this piece of land. He is the one who will go to the assembly to go and take permits to be able to build. So for that owner of the land, you know the person contact and everything, you know where the land is located. Because now even lands commissioner, they put a barcode behind, a QR code behind your building plan. So with just a scan, they know where the land is located. They know who owns it. They know the phone number of the person. Every information now you are trying to digitize and you have. So if you put that burden of how much artisans will be paid throughout the process and what percentage of that amount will become taxes for the state, what you are doing is you are even making the work attractive for the artisan, because now you are saying that a minimum charge for artisans maybe for a by day should be maybe 100 cedis. So the artisans also know that I'm guarantee 100 cedis for going to do by day. Out of that 100 cedis, they'll take 20 cedis as well, tax, and I'll come up with 80 cedis. Then you realize that you are even helping the art, because there are some artisans may go and work somewhere will be giving 50. Okay, my artisan said no. Now the government has said the minimum charge is 100. So you take your 20 and give me 80, and then go and pay your 20 to the government. If you don't pay, the government will come and collect from you. So you see, these are the kind of suggestions.
Anytime you bring this
proposals.
idea, do you know what comes to mind? Because a chunk of these artisans are forming a majority of even those voters, because they are not being taxed, their voting decisions are some way.
Of course.
But the day they begin to be taxed,
thank you,
they'll be interested in policy.
Thank you. And even if you tell that artisan that you are not on pensions, when you retire, what are you going to survive on? But if you are faithful and you pay your taxes, Now part of the money you are paying,
it's also been put in the snitch for
artisan
you.
now will say, no, landlord don't pay, you the owner of them don't pay, give me, I'm going to pay, because if you pay, it goes into your pension. But if I go and pay, the money goes into my pension, so now I am willing to pay. So you see, that's why the GRA proposal for me is solid. Because if I know that I am an air condition repairer, I'm a mason, I'm a carpenter, any work that I do, if I pay the truthful tax on it, the benefit is that though I'm in the informal sector, I'm building a pension for myself. And the more I pay, the higher my pension I will get when I retire. Why would I want somebody to pay it on my behalf and the person enjoys that pension? I will be willing to collect the money fully, go and pay, and make sure that my pension also goes up. So you see,
especially if the payment is not cumbersome, you're not going to stand in a line.
Straightforward.
You know, something
Momo
like that.
and all these things are available for them to pay.
So this is your first take on the TUC manifesto. You think they are not giving enough real life?
They are skinned. They are not giving the real life proposal and say, government, you're not able to do it because maybe you are not finding the solution. We have found the solution for you.
But that
how
is
to get it done.
Because this is what they are saying. In the foreword by Dr. Anthony Yauba, he said, in the last 4 decades or so, Ghana has implemented an economic management framework based on the Washington Consensus, which is underpinned by the free market ideology. You know, the socialists don't like that. No. It is now very clear that the neoliberal approach to economic management is not appropriate for Ghana. We need homegrown solutions.
Yes.
To our social and economic challenge. You think they've not provided enough solutions?
What is that homegrown solution?
All they are doing is just
one after the other. If you go to this sector, the homegrown solution that we are proposing as a union for sector A is this. In sector B is that. In sector C is that. Otufo just gave us a homegrown solution and said he thinks that government trying to do everything in the energy sector is the reason we are having doom so. His proposal is that allow private sector participation in all the various sectors under energy, whether it is distributor, whether it is the transmission, whether it's the generation, when a sector, he believes that when private capital comes into these sectors, it reduces the financial pressure on government, and he believes that the private sector will find the money at the right time to invest, and therefore the service will be available, Ghanaians will pay for it, and doom so will not be there. He has directly put in a solution.
Okay.
Directly put in a solution.
Does this qualify as a solution to you? Under 1.2, which is access to food and nutrition, this is what they say. We believe that Ghana can feed its population. Ghana can feed its population. That can be achieved by subsidizing farmers through the provision of inputs and extension services. If imports of food items are limited and Ghanaian farmers are guaranteed market for their produce, Ghana will achieve food security within a short period of time. It's not detailed enough.
But this is straight. Give them subsidies.
Okay.
But the question is, the subsidies enough? Because if you talk to the farmers, they look beyond subsidies, extension services and subsidies. And what is even the percentage of subsidy? If you say subsidy is general, if we say we are subsidizing our farmers, by what percentage do we want to subsidize the inputs?
Okay.
That will make it possible for the farmer to produce at a rate that we all like it. So you talk about subsidy, I agree. But then by what percentage, if fertilizer is to be provided to farmers, by what percentage is government subsidize the fertilizer? By what percentage is government subsidize the chemicals? By what percentage must government subsidize seeds?
Okay.
I think we should go to the nitty-gritties.
Okay.
And then what will be the total amount government will have to spend on that subsidy? Where is that money coming from? Is it when we say subsidy, we all are happy because it is government dashing us free money. But the question is, that free money that we want government to dash us, have we established where the money is coming from? Is it Kwesi Kwati presented the budget to UK Parliament? He didn't have the chance to even be endorsed as a minister. The budget was not even endorsed. Why? The market reacted. What happened to the people? They began to see rise in prices and things. And the market says, this your proposal is not the best for the UK because you said government to reduce this and that, but you failed to show us where government will get the money to be able to pay for the reduction. And that reason, Kwesi Kwati was sacked as finance minister of the UK, right? This is how things are done. You don't come and tell UK government that you will reduce it, you are not telling the UK where you are going to get the money to fix that hole. What we are saying that the UK government, which is already saying that they have borrowed so much, you are saying that they should borrow more. And they know the cost of borrowing also to the same economy. So once the reduction is good news, the cost of borrowing is bad news. Because you've not been able to show where they will get the money to be able to pay for the borrowing, for the cuts you are making. So it means that you want the government to borrow more. And when the government borrow more, they know the cost of the economy. So quickly they say, no, we think this proposal, though it looks good on the face, is bad policy. They rejected it. So you see, when we are asking government to subsidize things, it's good because it will make the produce affordable to all of us. The question is, how do we get the money that we are going to use to pay for the subsidy? That is the bottom line. If we can establish that, if government agrees to do it, we, the working people of Ghana, have decided that government can increase taxes by the 10%. And that 10% increment, the money is going directly into agriculture subsidy. And since we are paying that tax, when we use it to subsidize agriculture and food and other things become cheaper for all of us, it is our own money that we are enjoying, so we are happy. So if the TUC says another additional 10% or 2% increment on VAT, and the total revenue that will come from that increment should be used purely to subsidize agriculture sector, and then food prices and everything will be affordable to all of us, then we all agree that if that will be the case, that, for instance, maybe Kenke is now 5 cedi, if we add 2% to VAT, and then we use it to subsidize agriculture, Kenke can drop to 2 cedis. Who will not be happy about this? So see, sometimes the proposal look good, but then you look at the other side of the same proposal, the impact that one also have on the economy. Because in a broad country, you are asking for subsidies. The question is, where is the government going to find the money to do the subsidies? It's good to subsidize, but the question, where is the revenue coming from? So unless you tell me that we have accepted that government should add 0.5 or 1% more to VAT, the total revenue that will come from there will not go into the consolidated fund, to go to a special fund that is dedicated to subsidize agriculture across Ghana. And then when that is done, because the farmer got fertilizer subsidized, chemical subsidized, seed subsidized, maybe land preparation subsidized, maybe even if those that are in larger scale who want machinery like tractors and the rest will all get it subsidized. By that, the government will make sure that when the produce are out there, the prices are affordable, so that we all have food at affordable rate in Ghana. Which Ghanaian will say, I don't like this? Then the TUC, you are putting the Ghanaian worker in there by saying that you should pay 1 more percent on VAT. Pay 1 more percent on VAT and the revenue goes into subsidize. Because the government is not a business. The government just collect taxes and use the taxes to support us. And we say we are not paying enough taxes. We say that we are broke, we don't have money. And this is why we always complain about IMF and the World Bank policies. You say you don't have money, I should borrow. It's okay, I'll give you some temporary relief, but then I'll show you how to make money. Then they show you the various places you can collect taxes and the rest. The moment you start, then the ordinary citizens start complaining that you are taking their purchasing power away because you are taking more from them. And then we say the IMF and the rest are not. So I want Labour to also think about the fact that we also need to help government to raise the necessary revenue that we want the government to spend in all the areas we are talking about. So I'm here. If you tell me, Elvis, we want to put 1% on VAT. If we all pay, food prices can drop by 50% or 40% or 30% because we've realized that doing the calculation, that 1% will raise this amount of money, and that can subsidize fertilizer by this percentage, chemicals by this percentage, machinery by this percentage, land preparation by this percentage, seed by this percentage. And if we're able to subsidize all these things by this percentage from that revenue, food prices at the end of the day should go down by 30% or 40%. Okay. I will be ready to do that. And I think that
so it's still the
every Ghanaian will be able to do it.
It's still the skin in the game.
That is the point.
Okay.
That's the point.
Trade policy. Let's hear what the manifesto said about trade. A new approach to trade is needed if it is to become the pillar for transformation, sustained growth, and creator of decent employment. That approach must recognize 3 things. First, that in the development process, the structure of an economy matters for economic growth. One cannot hope to benefit from trade simply by concentrating on one static comparative advantage in commodities. There is a need to acquire a new comparative advantage in manufacturing. Second, for Ghana to acquire new comparative advantage in manufacturing, it must do all that all other industrialized countries have done in the past. 1, protect industries with positive externalities. Protectionism is much derided in orthodox trade economics, but it is what has done the job for all countries that have industrialized. Protectionism. Yeah. Thirdly, import liberalization has never been part of any successful strategy of development or even global integration. The countries that have successfully transformed their economies and achieved global integration did so through expansion of export while limiting exports, while limiting imports. Ghana must make use of the remedies that are allowed in the world trading system to shield, the same protectionism is coming here, to shield our nascent domestic firms from destructive competition.
Exactly.
And this is in the era of after.
But if you're saying that
continental free trade,
if you are saying that's what I'm coming. If you are saying this thing, to which products, you have to be specific, because this is the origin, source of origin of the product has to come in.
Okay.
That probably is out of this continent. Then you want that to be applied. But for comparative advantage, every country does that. What they do is to make sure that, okay, if you are bringing in this thing that we do in our country, the taxes are this much.
Okay.
If you are willing to pay those taxes, we don't stop you from coming. The point is, per WTO rules, you can't just say I'm banning something from coming to my country. You can put taxes on it. That is, by the point, if you do that, the countries that are also retaliate by also saying that if you are also bringing something to our country, you also put the same percentage of taxes on it, because you have right to do it, I have the right to do it. So that is what everybody does. So the truth of the matter is that I see no reason why we have factories in Ghana that are producing tissue paper and toilet rolls, and then we are spending over $100 million a year to import tissue paper and toilet roll. It makes no sense to me. That is the bottom line. So the truth is, if we are using duty and taxation regimes to make sure
as means of
protection,
curtailing, yeah.
That one, the WHO allows it.
WTO.
Yeah, WTO allows it. So that's why when this government initially started this benchmark values, I criticized them that it was wrong, because it was a blanket application of the entire benchmark policy. And I said, no, the benchmark policy should go for things that we don't produce in this country. Okay. So that those ones, you reduce the price, because we don't produce it, and then the people will need it. So then reduce those ones. But the things that we produce here, we should rather increase the taxes on them, so that the local market become competitive.
Okay.
So that there will not be dumping of products on our market to kill the local industry. So as they have said, I agree with them. But the government cannot just wake up and say, I am banning this, I'm restricting that. What the government can do is that, this is it. If you are exporting rice to Japan doesn't stop you from exporting rice to their country. But the tax percentage on this is about 300% for rice you are importing to their country. So if you can bring rice into Japan with 300% tax, and people will buy, that is your business as a businessman. At the end of the day, nobody will tell you don't sell it, because yours is 300% higher than the rice produced in Japan. Do you think that the people who are buying do not know the purchasing power that they have? They don't want to use their money, but that they want to come and buy your rice for 300% over the one that they produce. So at the end of the day, you don't get rice import into that country. They buy what is there because the taxation regime allows. So for us, these are some of the ways we need to look at it. How we can use duties at the port to make sure that the imports that are coming in, so long as we produce them here, so long as we produce them, if they are originating out of the continent of Africa and don't fall under the AFTA, then we give you the tax rate that if you bring it in and Ghanaians want to buy their business, if they don't want to buy their business, but we'll make sure that there's a disincentive for you to bring in due to the high duties on it. Then that creates room for local companies to be able to expand and produce, because the demand will be there. So I think that this is important, and using government purchasing power, okay, government purchasing power to do these things also help. For instance, if we say free SHS, if we are buying tissue paper for all secondary schools in Ghana, that's a huge amount of money. If government decide that this money should buy only tissues made in Ghana, it will just expand the tissue producing companies in Ghana. Same way, if we say rice that will be served under free SHS should only be local rice, that will be a huge market you have created for the rice producers in Ghana. So you can use government purchasing power to also help companies to grow. The only problem we are having here is that because there are some people who don't own companies but they want to benefit from government money, they will always oppose policies that make sure that local companies grow. They will take the money rather to go and import and make cheap commissions into their pocket, cheap profits. That's what they want. So then they will not support policies that make sure that this thing goes to where it is. That's why recently I was so sad that the opposition was opposing a government plan to say, let's put a restriction on certain import. Before you bring it in, because we produce here, if we are producing 100,000 metric tons of chicken, we give import license to the deficit only. We don't just allow people to import chicken and flood the market when local production now cannot be purchased because they flood the market. But if we know that this is our consumption, what percentage do we produce for local consumption? What the deficit left? Then we allow only the import only for the deficit. That is a proactive policy that will help local industry grow.
Yeah.
But then it became politics to the extent that the opposition was against this thing and was all over the place. I say, if we want our country to grow, this is not NDC NPP issue. Whether NDC NPP is in power, that's a policy you need to make sure that people don't dump their products onto your market. So you see, we must begin to look at all these things from this kind of perspective. So I support, you see, in terms of the market liberalization, protection policies, and how we can make sure that local industries grow. We need to do that. And I think that the proposal here I support.
Okay.
They should go further and identify specific industries, products, and make a list to government and say, government, this one can be produced in Ghana 100%. Increase the tax on this by 300%. We will support you. We, the workers of Ghana, are behind you. See, sometimes government want to do certain things. But you see, it's the reaction of the people.
He's afraid.
The very people that government wants to protect are the very people who will be on the street protesting against the government because of a policy. Because some one few people who are benefiting from it have money to influence people to say, go and oppose this policy. And the media will hide the issue. The public will begin to oppose it because somebody wants the team to oppose. Because if it's implemented, somebody's money-making machine is gone. So when labor unions begin to partner government in this way and give government that confidence that we will not oppose this policy if it is up there, anybody that tries to oppose it will fight the person on your behalf.
We will fight the person.
We'll fight the person because it is our proposal. Then the government will have that power to be able to do certain things. But then you see a nice government policy, people are opposing it, and the labor unions are quiet. You will never hear them defend government and say, this policy that government is trying to promote, we think it's a good policy, so whoever tries to oppose it will fight you. You hardly hear that from the labor unions.
Okay.
And I think that it's about time, if they really want this country to move forward.
If they want their manifesto to be taken seriously.
And this country to move forward, these are the kind of assurances they should be giving to government. That we want you to increase taxes on ABCD. We want you to use public purchasing power to buy from these local industries so that our economy can grow. Anybody that opposes this will fight them on your behalf. The government also says that, okay, now the workers union says they will back me to do it. So when I'm doing it, I know I have support. But when government is doing the thing, it's supposed to protect the same Ghanaian. And then some section of the public are out there attacking the government of the day. And then these unions, everybody is quiet. Whether it's because somebody has put something in their mouth, they say, I know that how I kata, but never shame on I and the other say, I don't know why am I? You don't understand. So I think that is important.
Okay.
That labor unions don't only make the proposal.
Yes, but they support.
They also tell government,
yeah,
if you do this policy, we back you.
Support you.
If you do this, we back you. And as I said, they should do away with that mentality of socialism. The way the world is moving now, those socialist ideas of labor unions will not hold.
Okay.
The world is far, far gone.
Can we do agric? This is what they said on agric and industrial development. We need policies that can boost productivity and production in the agric sector as a means of solving the problem of food insecurity and making agriculture the main source of raw materials for local industries. This will also help to conserve scarce foreign exchange and reduce the pressure on the national currency. Then they go ahead to say economic risk in farming are very high. Even in economically advanced countries, agric is viable because farmers receive state support. This is the reason for the massive agricultural subsidies in Europe, US, Canada, and Japan. Government must support peasant farmers with the newest technology, including improved seeds, irrigation, agrochemicals, and better agronomic practices, and encourage cooperative agriculture that would enable farmers to venture into large-scale commercial farming. Industrializing agri would also mean government should invest in storage facilities, agro-processing and transportation of food and other agricultural produce from rural to urban areas. Government has to guarantee prices for agricultural produce. This will strengthen the agricultural value chain while forging strong and beneficial linkages between agri and industry. We also need bold measures to address the challenges relating to the land tenure system to make land available and affordable for large-scale farming and other development projects.
Yes, see, these are major issues. Guarantee price. If you go to India for the past 3 years, they have been on the neck of the government over guaranteed price. Because the farmers feel protected if there's a guaranteed price. Now the government wants to take away guaranteed price and the farmers say, no way. If you take our guarantee, we are vulnerable to everything. Guaranteed price is good. Very good. If we have warehouses where government can guarantee that if your maize is ready, I'm buying at this price and storing it, it's very good. But I see guaranteed price also really contradicts a free market policy.
That's why from the very beginning, Dr. Alban has said that this free market
you understand it?
Is not a way to go.
It's against free market policy. So we produce so much maize up north, okay? So the hub of maize production is up north. Because of free market policy, people load it on trucks and take it to neighboring countries to go and sell for profit. And then just after 2 months that maize had come, maize is finished in the market and our price keep rising. So if there was a guaranteed price system and the government says, I'm buying all the maize produced in Ghana, nobody can export it. I'm buying all and put in a warehouse here. So that when there's price fluctuation, we can release more onto the market to stabilize prices. That is why Buffer Stock Company was set up. But Buffer Stock Company has no money to buy anything. There's no single grain in stock. It's broke. They were given $50 million under President Mills, and they used the money to buy cars and set up offices. So Baba Stock Company is just a broke company there. Now they have become buy and sell company for school feeding projects. They don't have anything. Ghana here, if there's no rain for 2 years, we won't die out of hunger. Do you know that? We have no strategic stock in this country. There's no strategic food stock. Look, it's a serious national security issue, but nobody's talking about it. It's a very serious national security issue that a country does not have a strategic food reserve. Which means that if there's no rain for 2 years now, or there's over raining, and everything is flooded and all farm produce food are destroyed in 2 consecutive years, Ghana will go hungry like 1983. And we don't learn lessons because hunger nearly killed everybody in Ghana in 1983. Hunger nearly killed everybody in Ghana in 1983. Many people were looking like AIDS patients, like this. You are walking and your ribs are showing, your neck, your bone color is showing. Everybody know that you are very hungry. This happened in that 1983. And from 1983 to today, we cannot boast of a single grain of strategic reserve. And we say we are running a country.
Okay.
So you are in a situation in a country where there's no rain for 2 years, or there is over raining and every food item gets destroyed in 2 years. We will all go hungry. If the maize we are eating, we will have to import. Some of the Gen Z don't know what is called yellow corn. Yellow corn came in 83. Food that have been saved in silos in America and the places for like 20 years. And I used to feed chicken. When we're hungry, that's what they were sending to us. They call it yellow corn. And we're grabbing it. And if you don't know, those people who don't know, Jerry, you know. Those days, to hear that kenke, somebody is going to prepare kenke. You not even allow the person to cook the kenke. Once they put it in the wrapper, you go and buy it raw. That one, you are lucky to hear that somebody has maize here and is trying to prepare. You go and buy and come and cook the kenke yourself. Because if you want to wait for the kenke to be cooked, you won't get one. That is what happened in 1983. If those Gen Zs who don't know, they should know. Those ministers who are younger and didn't know, they should know. Those in leadership positions who didn't know what happened in 83, they should know. Ghana, everybody almost died. Even the head of state, everybody was looking color bones. You know that hunger is in country. We all saw it. So if we are sitting in Ghana today and we cannot boast of a strategic reserve of a single grain, and we think that we are safe, it is more dangerous than terrorists coming to this country. The hunger that will catch us.
Okay.
Nobody even care about terrorism because you may even try to eat things that you are. Look, in my village, people ate things they are not supposed to eat. And the sad thing that happened was that when the hunger was over, more people were now dying. Do you know what happened? They ate things they were not supposed to eat. So they accumulated poisonous things in the body. So after 2 years, people started dying. because they destroy their internal organs by eating all kinds of things that they are not supposed to eat.
We will come back to this discussion.
Understand.
Mr. Daku, coming next week and thereabout, we'll pick this thing and then talk to people about it. This manifesto and the fact that you are asking for them to put skin in it. Thank you so much for coming. There's been Zed Talk right here on Z101.9 FM. That was Mr. Elvis Daku. If you don't know him, you heard him for the first time. Is the editor of the New Finder newspaper. He's very vociferous with some of these national issues. Thank you so much, Mr. Daku, for coming through. Yes, coming up at 8:57 thereabout. What are we doing? It's customer service and experience moment. Then we enter into 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock. Today is what? Thursday. What are Thursdays? Arts, culture and tourism Thursdays. You know, Mondays are personal growth and development Mondays. Tuesdays are health and wellness Tuesdays. Wednesdays are science and tech Wednesdays. Thursdays are health and wellness. They are arts, culture and tourism Thursdays. Fridays are the business roundtable Fridays. So yes, this coming up. Customer service and experience moment right here on Zed in the morning. Don't touch your dial.
Gee, but it's great to be back home. Home is where I want to be. And I've been on the road so long, my friend. If you come along, I know you wouldn't disagree.
It's your lifestyle, literature, and business radio.
Everywhere I go, I get slandered. You shine 2 steps away from the county line, and I've got to keep the customer satisfied, so satisfied. Deputy Sheriff said to me, what you come here for, boy, you better get your bags.
All right, so yes, that's customer service and experience moment right here on Zed in the morning. So what is the lesson for today? Today's lesson is simple. Great customer service recovery wins you closer friends. What does this mean? It said that customers do not expect a business to be perfect, but they expect the business to rectify wrongs as soon as possible. And there is something they call a service recovery paradox. Let me try and explain that. He said that customers who haven't had a bad experience with you have a certain level of loyalty. Those who have a bad experience that you solve have a higher level of loyalty. That's why they call it a paradox. If nothing has happened, he loves you at a certain level. But if something happens and you solve it, he loves you even more. That is what the lesson is for today, the service recovery paradox. It asserts that customers who have had bad experiences but get quick and effective resolution to their complaints, they tend to be more loyal than customers who have not had any negative experience at all. So when things go wrong, do not run away. Do not run away or look for excuses. Find solutions to the problem and your customers will love you more. That is what the service recovery paradox says. That if your customer service has a challenge, don't run away, don't look for an excuse. Solve it. And by solving it, the customer loves you more. This is customer service and experience moments right here on Zed in the morning. Coming up after a quick musical break, we're going to the last hour. Arts, culture, and tourism. We're talking to Nana Kofi Esihini on the state of the creative industry in Ghana. If anybody will know the state of the creative industry in terms of movies, in terms of music, in any other sphere, it is Nana Kofi Esihini. He's here, right here in the studios, coming up right after this. This is Zed in the morning. Get ready for an interesting conversation with the man himself.
Zed 101.9 FM.
I tell you everything my only God knows. If you are what today, we are not telling my mind then I fool. If I don't wake up tomorrow, we don't know my mind then I be fool. We know reach this far, make you come and give up on me now. Day after need my major.
Zed 101.9 FM.
You they see what I'm going through every day. Never thought I go make up, where I go do you. What make I tell you to convince you? When you go believe when tell you everything my only God knows. If you are what me today, we are not telling my mind then I fool. If I don't make up tomorrow, we don't know my mind then I be fool. Instagram girls don't impress the boy no more, baby. You should.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
I'm so into you. That's where I want to be. Shout at me, sugar mommy. Nobody can do it better for me. Oh Lord, have His mercy. Hey, shout at me, sugar mommy, my dear. Nobody can do it better than. Oh Lord, have His mercy. Why come I say she go back? Ella que bring money in this will take you my day, gotta be on. I tell you everything my only God knows. If you are what baby today, we are not telling my mind then I fool. If I don't make up tomorrow, we don't know my mind then I be fool.
Zed 101.9 FM.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and
Yeah, tomorrow. So says Daku Vibes. Oh, we are here today. Tomorrow is the TGI Triple F edition of the show. You don't want to miss that as well. Thank God it's finally Friday. Yeah. It's going to be a great conversation. Mr. But I don't like calling Mr. because Nana and Mr. don't go together. So it's Nana Kofi Esini. This is one of the most creative geniuses you come across in this country. Done so much within the industry. And so for today, we're going to have a discussion on the state of the creative industry in Ghana. Where is it now? Where did it come from? Where is it now? Where is it going? Is it going in the right direction? We're talking everything. And I'm going to start with a preamble for this very thing. What is a preamble? Quite recently, NorthernReports.com, that, you know, I like going to Northern Reports a couple of times. He said that there was a report that was out. And this report stated that Ghana ranked 7th in soft power. Ghana ranked 7th in soft power. First of all, if you don't know what soft power is, that one cries a problem for me and you. But Ghana ranked 7th in soft power across Africa, with countries like Nigeria and the rest above us in soft power. Soft power includes a number of things, including, very, very importantly, the creative space. And if Ghana is ranking 7th in Africa, I want to start by asking Nana Kofi Esini, who has been in this space for years, why are we 7th? Why are we not first?
Good morning.
I think Egypt was first.
Well, I mean, it's not surprising. I would think it's Nigeria, but
Okay.
I'm surprised is Egypt.
It's Egypt. Yeah.
It's not surprising that we're 7th. Can we be first? Yeah, I think definitely we have to be first. But the problem is maybe it's just because we're not intentional about anything when it comes to the creative sector, for that matter. So I guess that's why we're 7th. And even with the haphazard approach, if we're 7th out of a continent with like 50 something countries, that should just tell you or even amplify the potential it has. So with just a little effort, Pastor once said, Ghana ha ututu nyama ye kakrapa ye beka so wanyansa pa. You know, just a little effort, we could get to number 1. But it's just because we're not being intentional about it, and that is the first problem.
We should be intentional about a creative space. But okay, let me just read this.
Yeah.
Ghana's overall score in the 2023 Global Soft Power Index is 35.5, which places it in the 92nd position out of 121 countries that they did. This is an improvement from the 86th position in 2022, where it's called 30.3. Despite the improvement, Ghana still ranks relatively low in the index. Now, what are the pillars of the index? 1, familiarity. It assesses how well a country is known among other countries. That's number 1. So we're going to look at this because that's going to be the basis. This soft power discussion is going to be the basis of our discussion today. Number 2, reputation. And this is another crucial aspect of soft power. It measures how positively a country is perceived by others. 3, influence. And this refers to a country's ability to shape global discourse and policy.
Yep.
Then it comes to business and trade, which we all know. It measures how attractive the country is to investors.
And that's fourth, right?
Yes, that's the fourth one. How well or how attractive you are to investors and how well your companies perform on a global stage. Then there's governance, right? There's governance. That's number 5. Then there's international relations.
Yeah.
Then there is culture and heritage.
Yeah.
Right? Then there is media and communication, education and science. The last one is people and values.
Yep.
All of this is in the creative space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's start with the very top. Like for me, that familiarity. Nana, you've traveled around the world.
Yeah.
You've done programs, you've done works across. The first pillar of the soft power index is familiarity, and it assesses how well a country is known. How well is Ghana known? It says Ghana's familiarity score remained unchanged from the 2022 position, placing it 82nd in both 2022 and 2023. This score suggests that Ghana's brand recognition remains low globally. Anyemi, why?
I mean, it's just because, like I said, we've not been intentional about it. If you look at organizations in Ghana, we know lots of brands in Ghana, in the food space, in the agriculture space, in the science space. We know lots of companies. Now, Ghana as a brand should stand for something. Everything we stand for has been things that people have picked up, not necessarily because we've put it in their face for them to see. If it's not some dance called Azonto that comes from Ghana that the youth of Ghana have propagated, or if it's not some genre of music that the youth, in their bid to find some form of economic activity in their lives, push a certain genre called Afrobeat, or if it's not a certain football team winning something that anytime you travel around the world and they say, oh, Ghana, Asamoah Gyan. Those are the things that we are known for because it happens by accident. But we are not intentional about it. It's like we haven't sat down to write down the list of things we can be known for and necessarily in a very intentional way put it out strategically. Our brands do it. Our washing powder brands do it. Even those who sell herbal medicine will go and stand at the car park with their loudspeaker. That's some form of strategy because they understand the power of top of mind awareness. And when you are remembered, what are you remembered for? That's the problem with Ghana. Every time Ghana is remembered, it's either for soccer or something that we didn't intentionally do or some scandal. That is the thing. So if Ghana would necessarily say that, okay, what does Ghana stand for? Because if I ask anybody what does Ghana stand for, lots of things come to mind. Oh, Kente, oh this, oh that, lots of things, music, etc. But how can we together strategically put together a plan and say that this is how we're going to let Ghana, let people see Ghana? It can be a 10-year plan, a 5-year plan, but that is how I want people to see Ghana. And then we intentionally, every single month, do something about it till we get to that point. It's not just in March where we say, hey, Ghana month, celebrate independence, and then move on to our daily lives and forget that we live in a country that is a commodity or that is a brand that needs to be publicized.
And this is government's job.
This is the job of everybody. Everybody needs to do it. Government, the private sector, people running their businesses. I think it's just because as a country we are not proud of who we are. When we start being proud of who we are, we will gradually, even unintentionally, begin to do that. And then we add that layer of intentionality to it. Because when you meet a Nigerian, you know he's a Nigerian. He would snap out of his Cockney accent or US accent and let you know he's Nigerian before he goes back to speaking that. But it's like everything Ghanaian in this country psychologically is positioned for us to feel like it is inferior. Maybe that's also a psychological thing we need to think about. And why does that happen? And that's something we need to look at. We need to make Ghana appealing for ourselves first. Then we would naturally exude that thing. Then the foreign or the outside world will begin to pick it up. That's what I mean by being intentional. And if we don't do it, we don't expect that we would strike gold just because we happen to be at the right place at the right time. No, it's intentional. India has done it. Other countries have done it.
Nana, the thing here is this. If I were watching TV today, CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera, and I see an ad, Ghana ad, right?
Which won't be shot by a Ghanaian. Go on.
and I see a Ghana ad on Al Jazeera, it's going to make me feel good. And that is when I'm going to see that, yeah, Charlie, this is Ghana. We have, But if government doesn't go place that ad, or Ministry of Tourism or whatever ministry, in my small corner, how am I helping to ensure that Ghana becomes familiar out there, especially if I haven't traveled before?
That's the top level. Like Visit Rwanda. Every time you watch the Premier League, you see Visit Rwanda.
On the sleeves of Arsenal.
Yes, it's just a phrase, Visit Rwanda. Now you want to visit Rwanda. When I visit Rwanda, there should be something about Rwanda that makes me want to go there again, or probably purchase property there or invest in business there. Now, the things that will bait me to the country are the creative things. But when I get there, there's business, there's health, there's things I can invest in. Do you understand? Now, for that ad to be placed, it means that a certain infrastructure, certain policies, certain systems are in place within the country for me to come. It's like advertising your product and people come and you're out of stock. So when you start a business, the first thing you do is, okay, I have stock. Even if it's limited stock, I know I have stock. I put a premium on it. Then I advertise it, and then people come for it. Therefore, it will be all good and well if we see an ad on CNN, or maybe instead of Infinite Athlete on my favorite team's jersey.
You're a Chelsea fan, I know. Yeah.
It can be
Ghana. Visit Ghana.
It could be
Akwaba, Ghana.
Yes, but then if they come and there's nothing in place.
But we have roads. We have nice hotels.
We don't have enough roads. We don't have enough hotels. Our customer service is terrible. Our roads are terrible. Our advertising industry is doing mediocre advertising. Our film industry is suffering. You know, if you look at the social media space, right? The things happening on our social media space is just because the youth have decided to put out Ghana. But what are we doing collectively to push that? There are a lot of things in Ghana that could be better. Our castles and monuments are being torn apart, really. What are we doing for that? If I step at Kotoka and I get out of airport, what about Ghana will make me want to stay here? And guess what? Even without the effort, people are still coming. People are still buying property here. So if we think, maybe it's all well and good, no. That 7th position that you're saying, we could be number 1, really. And even break into the worldwide index where we are really, really up there. If we put a little effort into it, year of return has helped. But then when the people come, now they start complaining that prices in Ghana are really, really high. Because they are willing to pay the premium, but they are not getting the same thing in return, the quality they want, or the quality they perceive for that amount of money in return. What are we doing about these things in this country? Because if that doesn't happen, then they'll come and taste it and then leave. They won't come back.
If you're consulting for a company called Ghana, and the chief executive is a certain person called a president.
Yes.
And the brand is Ghana, and you need to take it from number 7 to number 1.
Yeah.
Give me the top 5 things you tell this president.
I mean, I think
in terms of familiarity in making a brand popular.
I think the first thing is value. We need to figure out what value does Ghana have to offer the entire country. That's the first thing. If you make a list of that, and it's even 2 things, then you begin to look at it. Dubai knows that they have a certain value that may run out in a number of years, so they've turned to tourism. Therefore, everything they do has tourism at the apex of what they're doing. So the health sector is buying into this tourism. The agri sector
health tourism.
Yes, everything is going tourism. Exactly. They have one thing. Now, this is a country that has so many things. A lot of people, sports scouts, come to Ghana to scout for football talent.
Yeah.
Is there a structure in that? And we see our footballers on international screens doing well. Is there a structure to make that happen more fluidly? You know, a lot of foreign productions have come into Ghana. Recently, there was the NFL ad that was shot in Ghana. 2 years ago, we shot a series for BET, Gabriel Union, across Africa by a solely owned Ghanaian company, Ghanaian crew. Now, can we do it? Yes, we can do it. And that's very, very possible. But then we need to start being intentional about it. That's the thing. These are things that Ghana can offer. The agric space, even the herbal medicine space. Because you do realize that people are looking for alternate forms of medicine.
Exactly.
That's why India is there, because India has a good balance of the
white man's medicine, and the Ayurvedic.
Thank you very much.
Ayurvedic India.
So when we make a list of all the things we have, we count our blessings. We name them one by one. Then we begin to figure out, okay, how then do we package these things? And not just to the foreigner, but first to us. Because if we don't believe in that vision, if the regular person who sells pure water by the roadside doesn't believe that Ghana is something, then that can work. So then you start turning the minds of people. How then do you turn the minds of people? Our films, our music. There's nothing intentional about the way we do music. Our music is all about, and then the girls. I get that.
But
It's
you've
commercial.
shot, Nana Kofi, you've shot a million music videos with the girls.
Don't say it like that. See, the thing is, it has to be intentional. So these things do exist.
Okay.
But then, is there a collective effort to start turning the way people think? I mean, when I was growing up, I think I in my head, any American can pick a gun and go to any country and fight his way and go and capture their president. Him alone.
Yeah, Chuck Norris does it.
Yes, Rambo does it.
Rambo does it.
Because that's what we're made to think in the films. That's the power of film. So an American thinks that America is invincible. You can't do anything to America. When the American anthem plays, you as a Ghanaian, you get goose pimples. You feel the spirit behind the anthem. And that's all because it's intentionally placed for you to believe in the power of America, or the power of that country for that matter. Now, that's where it starts. When you are in the country and you believe that your country is invincible, half of the work is done. Because then you would confess it, you will live it. So then how then do we use, the value of what we have, and then we begin to use these things as maybe as a trial period. How can we turn our people around to even believe in this first? Using film, using music, using the arts, using poetry, Ebo White does lots of plays. The number of people who go to Ebo White's plays, not to even go far. You remember Osofo Dazi? Osofo Dazi will turn to the camera and drop a moral of a story is
exactly
it's here for NT, and then he will say something and he drops wisdom into the heads of people. With all these things happening, the Krakran is saying, what's the point? We need to be intentional and start dropping these gems in the heads of people. So gradually our people begin to think a certain way. Then foreigners can then believe, this is the Ghanaian. That's what the Ghanaian believes in.
Still on familiarity and the use of all these arts.
Yeah.
The Jollof thing, have we milked it enough in terms of familiarity?
But Jollof is Senegalese, right?
Yeah, the Wolofs, right?
Yes.
The Wolofs brought Jollof.
Yes.
But we take from them. So
so let's say that we won it over Nigeria. But you see, I don't think this war should end, because this is a war, soft war.
Exactly.
That Ghana and Nigeria can milk forever. For me, I think from a strategic point of view, it's not about, so Ghana has won, so it's over. No, we can still go, and Jollof can be something that Ghana and Nigeria can milk till the end of time, because we can continuously know ours is better. And then we find PR, we find advertising around this subject. We have to milk it. And if we're going to list the things that Ghana has, Jollof is one. Look at the number of Jollof festivals that happen towards the end of a year. Jollof rave, Jollof this, Jollof that, watch it this, watch it that. Yesterday I saw one cover and slate something. See, people are finding value in the things, and people patronize it within the country. So if there's a holistic approach, if there's a top level policy that would help these things. Enough of we've given the creative sector $2.5 million. That won't get to the hands of the creative people. At the core, the guy who's weaving baskets or making wooden stuff up in a brie, who's a craftsman, who needs new sets of chisels, how does that benefit the person? Because this money will be used to attend big conferences, sit in planes and stuff, and the real people who deserve it will not get it.
We're talking Ghana and soft power. We're talking to the man who understands the space. Nana Kofi Isini, he is a creative consultant. Let's come to the next one. Reputation. It's how a country is perceived by others. How positively. You've been around. What do they think of us?
I think no matter what happens in the political space or any other space, people still respect Ghana.
Okay.
When they know. Right? So even the little they know, they give respect to Ghana, because you can't beat the power of good news. I mean, oh, Ghana, Zonto, oh, Ghana, Samwajan, oh, Ghana, World Cup. People will say these things because that is good reputation. You can't beat that. No, I mean, light shines over darkness, really. So that's something that I don't think it's difficult for us to get. I mean, Kwame Nkrumah is still revered around the world.
We're still milking that brand.
Have we even milked it?
We haven't?
We have not. We haven't even started.
Are you serious?
We haven't even. I mean, we've milked it in terms of other things. Politically, we've used him as an example, etc. But the brand Kwame Nkrumah, nobody has touched it. What does Kwame Nkrumah stand for? What are his values? Even within the country, have we picked the values of Kwame Nkrumah and used that as a way of turning the way our people think?
Okay.
We tend to politicize everything. Everything is either A or B in this country.
Has Kotoko.
I mean, I'll just use those two examples, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know.
And and I think your previous guest was talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
When we politicize everything, no, enough of the politics, right? Let's begin to look at, like I'm saying, so Kwame Nkrumah, what does Kwame Nkrumah stand for? Do we know what Kwame Nkrumah stands for?
He said that so many times in all his books.
Yeah.
Have we even read it?
Do I even know where to buy a Kwame Nkrumah book? Why isn't a Kwame Nkrumah book on our reading list for our students? Do you get my point? Why is it that companies in Ghana that have grown are not case studies when we are doing our master's programs? When I was doing my master's, all the case studies were foreign organizations, and I would continuously bring an example of a local entity, and someone would say, "Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, good. So where are the artists? Why are we not writing about these things?" Because it's when we gather all these stories and begin to put out, their reputation is done, sorted, because then people know. The Kwame Nkrumahs, the Azumes, the Nkulenus, all those people, all those stories, right? So it's enough of the boy meets girl, girl marries, girl does not marry, girl is heartbroken, end of story, to God be the glory. We've had enough of that.
No, but your people in that space, do they have the capacity to write these stories?
Yes.
They do?
Yes.
So why are they doing the boy meets girl? Why are they not writing
because
success Kwame Nkrumah and things?
Because if they come to organizations for funding, the organizations look at the financial line and the numbers. The people out there, what do they want to watch? Yeah, entertainment. Like, we have a certain mindset, and that's what needs to change. So to milk it, won't milk it now. I was giving an analogy of a bamboo. When you grow bamboo, it takes time for it to shoot, but you need to make sure that it is good. It's taken care of properly. The roots, okay, the systems below the line needs to be built properly. Then when it shoots up, it would stand. We need to start changing all of these things at the ground level so that in 5 years, when a film about something comes out, people will patronize it. Ebo White, I always use him as an example. It took time for people to patronize his plays, but now he sells out 3 times a day. George Quay has plays he does that will sell out like 4 or 5 times in a week. Do we want good things? Yes, we do. But somebody has to sacrifice to make it.
I mean, this example you gave for me is exciting. That there is no story about Auntie Esther. No one has written a play about Esther Nkulenu, and then we'll cast some lady to act as her. Then the story. We don't do that.
Yes, because it's not just the creative. We have people who can write. We have people who can shoot it. But it's like supply and demand. Do you get my point? If it's like the example the man gave, if he takes rice from Ghana to Japan, why am I good?
There's no way he's going to make it.
We need to create the demand for it, and in creating the demand, after making the list of all the things you have, now you make the list of all the things we don't have or what are our flaws, and begin to draw lines. What can correct what? Okay, this can solve this. This can solve this. The creative arts can solve everything. But the creative arts can serve as a vehicle to solve everything. That's why NGOs will say, oh, we want a 2-minute short film translated into Dagati, Ewe, Tree, and this thing, so that we can show to the farmers in the other parts of Ghana that if they use this kind of insecticide, it is bad. They should go for more sustainable. Why are the NGOs doing that? Because they know the power of film.
Okay.
Organizations know the power of the creative arts, but organizations are a subset of the country.
Okay.
So as a country, holistically, do we know we shouldn't just wait till November and then we start using songs and this to get people to vote. And I'm saying that to both NPP and NDC. We all do it. That's not the way to go. How about January or February or March? That intentional effort to use the creative arts. That's what
intentional effort to use the creative arts.
If you go to Kumasi on a Saturday, you see lots of red and black.
Yeah, funeral.
Thank you.
Everybody do.
Good. So as Africans, for that matter, African art is the way it is built is such that there's the function and then there's the aesthetics. And then to some extent there's the spiritual.
Of course, yeah.
So all African art is like that. So then why have we relegated arts or the creative sector to become just embellishment when it is intrinsic in the way we live? So the woman in Kumasi, Obeka se yenchantuma, a particular color, and it means something which comes from a proverb. We live it, but we have not been intentional about it. So now we think it is, it's just normal. But that's the thing. We need to start being intentional about it. If we wake up one morning and there are 16 red billboards in Accra, first thing we say is, hey, who died?
Of course.
So why are we not using these things? Because that's the power we have. We are not using the power of communication. If you wake up and there are 16 white billboards, before elections, you think, why? Somebody win the election already. We need to be intentional.
Yeah. Before we move to the third one, I want to touch on high life. I've seen you speak on other platforms in this space concerning it. What is high life? What is high life? And in this discussion, where does high life plug in?
This question will be best answered by Professor John Collins. I interviewed him a few months ago.
Yeah,
a white person.
Who I mean, I know John Collins.
High life
than everybody else. Yeah. He's written some books about it. Amazing
Lots
guy.
Of books.
Yeah.
Okay. So I feel like high life is Ghanaian music.
It's hip life, high life.
Hip life took from high life. You see, the thing is, we are very eclectic people. I've been in conversations where people are saying that, this is high life and this is not high life. And hip life is this and hip life and it's now hip hop. And somebody will say, but Black Sharif doesn't rap and he sings, so is it hip life? And all of that. What we need to understand, like I said from the beginning, is make a list of the things we have. As Ghanaians,
high life will be part of our list.
Of course it is. Music is part of our list.
Okay.
As Ghanaians, we are highly eclectic. We like to pick from places. Unfortunately, we haven't looked at it from a positive point. So we pick, and we don't know why we're picking. So if we're eclectic by nature and we know that, okay, now let's be intentional about it. That's Burger High Life. Burger High Life is just a mixture of, let's say, dance music from the 80s and our sound. So hip life is essentially like Burger High Life, where we pick what we have and we'll mix it with something from it. Then you go further back. What Osibisa was doing was not purely high life per se, right? They were picking something foreign and then they mix it with what is Ghanaian. Then you go back even to the pre-colonial times. What then happened with high life is the foreign bands were playing like music, brass instruments, etc. And then these Ghanaians who were playing for them, who learned, also began to play it on the streets as their own thing. And that became the ethos of the high life we know. Even guitar band, the guitars came from Sierra Leone, soldiers from Sierra Leone. And then we picked it up and we incorporated it into our music. So the moment, anytime we start saying, high life is Ghanaian, yes, I get that. We named the high life. But the key thing I'll say is Ghana is eclectic. So now there's Afrobeats, which you can't say is Ghanaian, but it has Ghanaian influences. So I think we should just stop fighting over, what is not. We just need to understand that as Ghanaians, we are eclectic. It's a flaw, but it's also an advantage. So meaning that we can pick anything we want. We can go and pick hip hop. We can go and pick even bagpipe music from Scotland.
And add something to it.
So that's our advantage. So music is one of the things that should be on the list, whether we call it high life, whether we call it back life, whether we call it country life, whatever it is. The Ghanaian is naturally eclectic. When we understand that, we won't have any problems naming things and taking advantage of stuff.
It's 9:30. We're still talking to Nana Kofi Esini, a creative consultant per excellence. Let me find out from him. Mm-hmm. Nana, why didn't Azonto last, become like what it just served the purpose and it had to disappear?
I think it's a bit of both. The name Azonto possibly vanished because of the cadence of the name Azonto, and I think the whole Afro music fusion movement was getting to a place where it needed to sound more silky. So I think the name Azonto was something that people didn't really roll off the tongue of people since as our musical tongue became smooth, right? But Azonto served its purpose at a point in time, because Afrobeats was sort of like lived on the shoulders of Azonto to get to a certain point, and then Azonto dropped off. Without the dance, that attention wouldn't have come to us, because then all you saw was all of a sudden everybody was dancing in all the capitals of the world to a certain genre of music that was clearly African and at a certain BPM, and everybody bought into it. Azonto served that purpose. We named it Azonto, right? Because we took the naming rights. But after a point, the music then became forefront and began to rise. Now, so you realize that the BPM of music generally has dropped. I mean, there are still some high BPM, but it's dropped because we've got into a space where music has become smoother and all of that. So Azonto would have naturally vanished, but dance is still there, and lots of dances have come, and that Azonto is what sparked the whole idea of this is a dance, name it something, the whole world knows about it, it's time for a new dance, name it something. It will continue to go on. I think we shouldn't be too emotional about some of these things. Change is inevitable, it happens, so we should take the opportunities and maybe go ahead of a curve and create the opportunities.
That's and it still come back to the same thing. We are not intentional.
Yes, we wait for something to happen and then we scream and shout.
Third one, influence.
Yeah,
influence refers to the country's ability to shape global discourse and policy. Yeah. Charlie, who are you to go shape global discourse in this time? And how are we shaping it? America shapes it by movies, like I said. Yeah. They inculturate you
policies and all of that. We shaped dance in the world. We did. We shaped dance.
Ghana.
Yeah.
Not Nigeria.
Ghana shaped dance in the world. Nigeria helped at a point. We started it and then Africa took. So Kenya has their own dance thing. The South Africans now have come with their, but we shaped dance. So the thing is, back to the first list, what do I have? I don't have billions of dollars to tell NATO what to do.
Otherwise, we'll bomb you, NATO, if you don't stop this.
Yes, we don't have that power.
Okay.
But when you leave the boardroom and you're at home or you're driving in your car, I have that power. It's like that analogy where they say that if you want to get a man's head, get to the wife, and then in the bedroom, blah, blah, blah. Exactly. Yeah. We have, so back to the list. When we know what we have, we can use what we have. And what we don't have, we don't even touch it at all. That's peace of mind. We know that if right now, the aircraft and the bombs, Charlie,
we don't get.
But we go feel entertaining. it sounds entertaining, but that's the truth.
I get it. Yeah.
So that's the influence that we have, we should start using this as influence. We should start dropping, putting things in our content that changes the way people see about us, and that changes global discourse. Because truth is, anytime there's something happening in the political scene and there's some agitation, it's usually fronted by the creative people.
Yeah.
Any other sector can say what they want to say. We don't. The nurses can strike, but it's just because they want their salary. But let the creatives take onto the street and photographers start photographing. People are putting on social media. People are doing spoken word pieces, artworks and stuff.
Somebody's rapping about it, putting out there.
Exactly. All of a sudden, people begin to listen. So influence we have, but we are not using it properly.
Okay. Still within the dance space and the music space, is it that it's moving from country to country, and as it stands now, we are all looking down south to South Africa and doing that? What is that thing they are doing down there?
I forgot the name. Chwala something.
What's the name? DJ Wade. What is the song thing being done in South Africa?
I mean, they've come up with their own piano thing with the
yeah. Okay, so it's like, are we there now, and will it move to somewhere else? And what can Ghana do to make sure it comes here and it stays here?
The thing is, it would move around because change is inevitable, like I said, right? But we still play a very important role. Like I said, Ghanaians are naturally eclectic. So if it is down south and it is log drums and we can use it, let's use it, but let's not forget the Yam Ponsan riffs. So
Okay.
that when we hear Amapiano from Ghana, you can clearly tell that, oh, okay, this is Ghanaian. Like an example, somebody said, I was in South Africa and someone played Kamido. And I said, oh, this guy is Ghanaian. I was like, that's the only Ghanaian song you've played the whole night. Then he was like, oh, he's Ghanaian? I'm like, oh, yeah, he's Ghanaian.
He thought he was what?
Nigerian or something. He didn't know.
Oh, wow. Even Kamido too, they lose him. Oh, Ghana.
Yeah. And I think he's one of the most awesome singers around. But yeah, they were thinking he's Nigerian because of the quality. But probably Ghana doesn't churn out that quality.
But don't we?
We do.
Don't we have?
We do.
Let me put you on the spot since we are into the art space and the reputation wise. If the Yampunsa is where the thing all started from, and the High Life is where we were birthed, how come your top 4 or 5 or even 10 biggest acts in your country are doing non-Yapunsa?
I mean, like I said, change is inevitable. Change would happen. So you don't expect...
One day we'll move from the dancehall guys.
You see, but even the dancehall guys, this is the thing. The reason why the Stone Boys and all those people are visible is because when they enter a space with something that the rest cannot do. They enter with the Ghanaian feel. Right? If we continue to do that, we'll continuously be relevant because nobody else can sound Ghanaian but us. I mean, shout outs to Killbeat. Killbeat is a big beat producer, and in the beginning, the ethos of Azonto and Afrobeat, he literally was one of the people who shaped how it should sound. The Ghanaian sound was there; you could hear it clearly. Okay, so the thing is, we can't do away with other influences for that matter.
Okay,
but we can go into the space. Like I said, Ghanaians are eclectic. We can go into the space, but show our Ghanaianness for that matter.
Culture and heritage.
Yeah, we have plenty of it. We're not telling our stories. Even now, I doubt if kids in school now are thought about our culture and our heritage. We've been made to think that it is fetish. No, it is not. You see, a lot of wisdom resides in the past, in history. Most countries that make it forward go back to the past. Be it a mistake or be it whatever, it is still your past and you need to think about it. Then again, and then you take out the best parts of it. Ghanaian stories are so layered. If you go to the Cape Coast Castle and you're telling the story about the castle, you learn a lot about how Ghanaians are and our heritage. If you take a basic stew, when you take a stool, I can tell you a story about the stool that you go like, wow, this is true. Yes, it is true. I may add a few lies, but it is true. It's like we're surrounded with so much culture and heritage, but we've ditched it for other things. And that's why we're suffering. Because the moment you go back and you sit in what is truly Ghanaian, you realize that there's so much to tell. Our stories, our advertising, so much. I put up a post recently about some of the music videos I'd done and how I'd made them unique by picking things from Ghanaian culture, purely Ghanaian culture, using elements, using symbols, using things that are culturally relevant. And it made them different in the sea of so many things that looked the same and had a certain look and feel. So we do have it a lot. But then let's look at it, the kids. Do we teach the kids these things? Because then after we are gone, will they know what happened before we were here? Are books telling those stories? When we say Kente, there's something I would say. Even Kente, right? We've adulterated Kente. Yes, and I know change is inevitable. But as you change, don't throw away the main thing. Recently, I saw I've forgotten where politician gift Kente to a big person in the world. And it wasn't original Kente, it was Kente with embroidery. And I get that Kente has changed, but I think the least thing we could have done was present that person with original form of Adrinasa, which is a pure Ghanaian craft, which symbolizes the highest form of Ghanaian expression when it comes to narrow strip weaving. But no, we did not. They just presented him something that was woven with embroidery, something that the Chinese can easily replicate. And that's what we presented to, was it the Pope? Yeah, I think so.
Those who presented, did they know?
That's the problem too. Do we know? Education, do we know? Do we know the value of what we have so that we don't adulterate it, so we don't throw it away and pick up new things? Because if you present that piece of kente to the Pope, and it is doable, because all they have to do is, okay, narrow strips, weave it plain, block, add this. Instead of that intricate weave thing that a master weaver will sit. A master weaver will sit for like 5 weeks.
But Nana, are you not being Nana Kofi seeing here? Because I would have seen the presentation and clapped.
Of course, everybody claps. But because I realized that, okay, there's a lot more we can do. Back to that list again. If I make that list and we take kente, we will look at what kente is and maybe find a way of making this form of kente more commercial. And then making the other form of kente even more valuable.
Exactly.
That's why I study Japanese culture a lot, and they have this thing where broken pots are fixed with gold.
Some glue behind the thing is and
it's broken, but it has more value. It will cost
than an original one.
Yes, value. The Japanese understand what value is. That's why if you pick Japanese selvedge jeans, it is sewn from one piece of denim fabric. It's just jeans that everybody wears, but that will cost you over $2,000 because of the crafts behind it. So in the midst of all this AI, etc. happening, where computers can churn out and spit stuff out, your ability to do something novel is what makes you, or what brings value. Therefore, on that list that you said in the beginning, we need to look at the things that we can do that nobody else can do.
Kente, jollof, the list is coming, right?
Everything. A lot of things. A lot of things.
We'll come to that list again. Recently, you said you were moving back into one of your first loves, which is clothing, designing and all that. Let me find out. What is the Ghanaian look? What should we go sell to the world in terms of our look? If the Scottish are doing skirts, what should we do?
I think what we do, back to the point, we are very eclectic.
We've picked from other places.
So the kaftan isn't really a Ghanaian thing. I think it's an African thing. Because if you look at the way the African man dresses, it's very loose clothing because of our climate.
Okay.
And in certain places where the weather is hot during the day and very cold at night, you need to balance it out. So when we look back into how we dress or how we are, that's how we can churn out what the Ghanaian look is. But then there's the fabrics. There's the Northern Kente, Ewe Kente, Ashanti Kente. Tie and dye is naturally not it's not a Ghanaian thing. But we've picked it up and we've developed techniques that work as Ghanaian. So the Ghanaian look will be eclectic, but would still have something that is Ghanaian. So you can probably put out a suit and line it with a certain fabric that can only be found in Ghana. That's like your little touch of Ghana. I'm not saying don't make suits. Go ahead and make the suits, because if you make suits and you sell them on Savile Row, you probably make more money. But make sure that there's an identity that makes you different from what another British tailor is making.
So you are very pragmatic in your stuff. I mean, like in your recommendations to Ghana, that don't be too emotional.
I mean, there are times when you are. There's a point to be emotional, because I've gone to a point when I as a young creative, I was very emotional. Then I got to a point where I became very businesslike. But I think it's a perfect balance of both. Okay. Knowing when to balance it. There are certain things that you throw out the emotions and just think economics and money and profit. And there are certain times where you drop all of that and think value and culture. And there are certain times when you balance it. It's knowing the balance that helps, because sometimes tweaking it a certain or skewing it a certain direction gives you advantage on your next transaction than this one. So you need to know how to balance that.
Because I'm finding that more believable, because history has shown that even the Kaba and slit is actually foreign. And we brought it in and then we made it ours.
Yeah, we're eclectic. I mean, I don't know why we haven't figured that out yet. We are just, see, maybe that's also a reflection of how creative we are. We can pick anything and make it our own. Okay. So maybe that's our thing.
That is what we should go out there and
maybe that's
sell.
our thing. But when in making it our own, we should make sure that after we touch it and we let it go, you know that no, a Ghanaian has
touched it.
Yeah, that's it.
Amazing. It's something that has never crossed my mind that we can actually push this agenda that we are not, there is nothing inherently Ghanaian. But however, if you brought yours in, we'll take it, turn it around, and then push it out there. Okay. Let's also find out media and communication. Media and communication in terms of Charlie, why can't Ghana?
When a Ghanaian says Charlie,
sometimes some of these things are so frustrated. Why are we not placing the Ghanaianness out there? If we have Ghanaians out there doing stuff, Wakanda. There were Ghanaianness in Wakanda, right? It didn't crash symbols and all. But you're saying it wasn't intentional. Somebody did it and then we clap.
For them, it was intentional because the film process means that you need to do something that's super authentic so that it's believable. And not just that, it needs to be academically correct.
Okay.
Historically accurate. And that's the approach to film. That's why pre-production on a film can take years, not 2 days. That's why pre-production on a TV commercial should take 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks where you prep. Not let's shoot can we shoot tomorrow?
You wouldn't do that.
I
know. I mean, you've turned down. I know.
I won't do it because at the end of the day, when I put out the work, the last work I did should give me my next job.
Okay.
So I can't put out something mediocre unless, of course, I won't put my name on it. But I'm at a point where that doesn't help. Now back to Wakanda. So the thing is, they intentionally researched and put these things in so that when that man is wearing the Edinkra means saying goodbye, and he's in a space where he's talking to his dead father. It makes sense. The cultural relevance of the cloth and what it means, and even the colors of that scene, and the tree behind him, what kind of tree it was. Geographically, if you research it, you realize that, okay, so if I were to dive into the film and look around Africa, this is the area they probably were, because those trees are not in Ghana, they are in this side of Africa. That's the level of thinking we do, because art and psychology goes together. So that's how intentional they were about these things. And then we love it because to you and me, hey, it is nice. We haven't thought about, and it was this and this, and we haven't broken it down. But guess what? Our mind has done it already because we are Ghanaians. So our mind does it, and this seems like our thing. So then we take it up, and then we accept it, and then we push it. That's what advertising even does. So when you're doing an ad campaign for, say, you're shooting a commercial, and it has to be set in Takoradi, and the product is for people in Takoradi, place things in there that Takoradi people understand. When the commercial starts, be playing some Kofi Kinata in the background, small. They won't really hear it, but they feel it. The aim is control what people feel by using what they see. There's a connection there, and if you do that and it works properly, like visual effects. If I tell you certain things, like the Premier League, when you're watching the Premier League, it's all shot on green screen, but you won't see it because of the way it is done. So if you don't, I
don't want to understand what you just said. I mean, it's all shot on green screen. If you don't see
it, it means it's done properly. You only feel it. We should start understanding that everything people see has a psychological connotation or inflection on how they feel. So then we should start using that. There's a reason why a certain party uses red, white, and blue, and someone uses green. They all have meanings. That's why our national flag is red, yellow, green with a black star. It means something.
We're not milking these things enough. Domestic tourism.
Yes.
Internal tourism. Ghanaians visiting Ghanaian places.
We don't go.
Why?
So many factors.
Is it not because of you people? You do the creative guys.
Transportation.
Do some video about a place.
Yes, but still transportation. Our transportation networks don't support that. So in the beginning I said that if you put out the product and I come and it's out of stock, I won't come back again. Yes. How do I get to the product? Transportation. When I'm there, maybe give me free Wi-Fi so I can do, hello guys, I'm at this. It seems very mundane, but it's important. It helps. So for all these things to happen, like I said, let's not rush. We probably need like a 5-year plan to be able to clean up to a point that it's appreciable, not the best, and continue to grow it over that period when people begin to come. If I won't go to Cape Coast if I don't have my own car, because public transportation to Cape Coast Castle is cumbersome.
Yeah.
Or going up north, I have to fly. Now there are a few airports, so Ghana is opening up. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So as much as we think about, we have to go, how do we go? I spend a lot of time at the beach. Recently, I was at the beach. I had my camera and I photographed the amount of debt on the beach.
Why?
And I'm coming, and a lot of beach fronts. People had invested money into nice places in front, like by the beach. But when you walk to where the sea meets the land, there's a lot of debt, all kinds of debt, all kinds.
Chalewote and things. Yeah, I've seen those.
Furniture, half of a chair, like all kinds of things. So I think I posted it, and one of my friends who runs a place on the beach said they clean the place every morning, every single morning. By morning, the debt is back. So then, yes, let's reverse engineer it. Why is the debt coming back there? This doesn't lie in the laps of, say, tourism or whatever. Waste disposal. There's something really happening that is affecting that. So waste disposal. Why are people disposing of the waste there? We know all these things. Probably because they are trying to just make money as waste, whatever. So they dump it somewhere. Therefore, how then do we correct that problem? Even agriculture can solve this. He drops the thing over there so he can get paid quickly. If there's food for him, it all affects. So it's like a cycle. The creative arts can't exist on its own. Tourism can't exist on its own. Agriculture cannot exist on its own. Health cannot exist on its own. It's like a concerted effort with all these industries together. Where does my end and where does yours start? Should we blur the lines more? Should we draw the lines more? How do we work holistically around all of these things? Even health. So we are saying in health, but our beaches are dirty. So when I get money and I go to the beach and I choose small kebab and this, I go home and I have to go to the hospital. So
and so everything is intertwined.
Yep.
But the creative arts happens to be like the lubrication within all of these
Call
things.
it that, the vehicle. The vehicle. The front-facing machinery, the PR of all of this. But in the back, there's the machinery. There's the IT space who will make sure that this infrastructure or all of this is set. There's the health. There's the roads. There's policy. There's things as education, which is at the base of this whole thing, which starts begins to turn the minds of people, so they begin to look at all of these things. And even as they are doing that, how then do we educate them? How then do we break down our syllabus into little pieces of creative things that the kids can pick up easily? Now, kids of today will go on TikTok and look at the dance, and in two minutes, they know the dance. You can walk by the road and break into dance, and 60 people will join because they know the formation. That's education. It's not entertainment. It is education. So how then do we go back? How do we use the creative arts to get our kids to learn more? Are there any kid story? I mean, the stories the kids in school, right? Are they told any stories that's culturally relevant about our history? No, they know more about what are the superheroes nowadays, Kara? And SpongeBob and
I mean, to watch SpongeBob.
There's a whole manga following anime culture in Ghana because it is presented. People are looking for options. They don't get it, so they lean.
The Japanese are sending it to us. They're pushing it onto us.
The Chinese are sending it. The Americans are sending it.
Our very good friend Jones. I should bring him here one of these days for us to talk cartoons and the.
I mean, their space is struggling.
The cartoon space.
Their space is struggling because we need to make content for kids. They can make content for kids.
But it's expensive.
But it's not expensive. I mean, one V8 can make content for kids that would last as 10 years.
What V8? The 70th anniversary?
Either one.
Okay.
Don't go too far. The small one.
No, we need to do this again and again and again because this has been exciting conversation. Nana Kofi Essin is a creative consultant. I don't know any other way to call it, and he's been having a great conversation with us on the creative space in this country. Hey, I missed a lot of messages. Please ask him if he's still into clothing.
Yes, I am.
Yes. What? I got so caught up in it that I forgot that messages were coming through. Anyway, so thank you so much. Nana, the messages are just too much. You need to promise to come back again.
Ready when you are.
Yeah, let's sit down. Let's talk more into Ghana's creative space. There are a lot of gentlemen who want to also interview you. They want to interview you on this. Thank you so much. Nana Kofi Esihini, for coming through today. It's been an exciting experience on Z101.9 FM. DJ P28, I know you have a question, but I won't allow you to ask. Let's use that to bait him to come back another time so that we continue the conversation. It's Z101.9 FM. All too soon, it's 9:55, and our show is up. As always, before we leave, let's say it as it is. Pray like it only depends on God, but work like it only depends on you. Thank you very much, people. We'll do this again tomorrow. Tomorrow, don't forget, is a TGI Triple F edition. Thank God it's finally Friday.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Joy.